All right, we should be live. We just gotta finish getting set up as always. Hmm. The more you know. All right, we should be live. We just gotta finish. Will you win your bike race tomorrow? Yes, yes, you will. I'm a psychic, and that's what I said. That's what I have declared it. Oh, how are you? I'm okay. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. I appreciate you significantly. Oh. Oh, I should make sure that we don't have a guest already. Howdy, howdy. Bum 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 bum. Y'all, my neck is sore from last night. I was doing, I definitely like over tensed my neck last night at the gym. Oops. Oh, let's do the normal focal cleansing. Using the head machine? Yes. No, I was just straining my neck to keep everything, in good form, which was a mistake. I'm sure it'll get better. I'll just have to take some Advil or something. Is it better to live unhappy or live in a fool's paradise? That's a personal question. I think that's a question that depends on each individual. How do you give speed to a particle? Like if the charged particle, you can just put it in an electric field. An electric field will accelerate something. What caused the Big Bang? That's a good question. Huh.
Hello.
Ami, how's it going?
My question is, why is there not a reason to believe in God? So,
Well,
what
I
would be the
mean,
reason?
shouldn't we typically have reasons to believe things?
I don't know, but my point is, you either believe in God or you don't. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
And worst case scenario, the people who believe in God, there is no God, and when they die, nothing happens. It's just endless void.
Oh, that's not the worst
And
case
if you
scenario.
believe in God, sorry,
That's not the worst case scenario. But go ahead.
what would be the worst case scenario then?
Well, the worst case scenario is that atheismo exists, and atheismo sends everybody who believed in God to like the worst torturous hell imaginable.
Okay, well, if you want, we can use that as the worst case scenario, but
It's
I don't
definitely
know.
definitely pretty bad, right?
Yeah, it is pretty bad. All I'm saying is there might be a reason to believe in God, there might not be. But in my opinion, there's just as much reason to believe in God as there is not to.
So what's the reason
Like,
to believe in God?
I don't really know. I just believe in Him because I have faith, and the exact reason I don't know why I shouldn't. But
Well,
why
look,
should
I
I?
don't understand. Like you say that there's exactly as much reason to believe in God as there is to not believe in God. I
No,
would
no,
say that
no.
there's
I mean,
plenty of
like,
reason. I would say that there's plenty of reasons
I
to
mean,
not
like.
believe in God. What are the reasons to believe in God?
Well, can you give me a reason to not believe in God?
Yeah, the problem of evil. If God existed and had the power to do so and wanted to do so and knew about suffering, wanted to stop suffering, had the power to stop suffering, and knew about the suffering, then we wouldn't expect to see as much suffering as we do, and yet we see a lot of suffering. So that's a good reason to think that such a being doesn't exist. Oh, dude crashed out, which is normal. It's normal to crash out. That's fine. He literally did the R2D2 meme, which I appreciate. I already took
Hello.
it. Hello, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I believe in God.
Okay, which one?
I'm a Christian. I believe in
Okay,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I guess I should have figured that from your name. So, what would you say is like the most compelling reason that you could give me so that I might believe in the God that you believe in?
Okay, so I would like to start off by saying that it's a faith, but it's not a blind faith exactly. One of the reasons is that there is no evolution in itself. It's a good concept, but
When you hold on, just to
abiogenesis
back
in the
up, when you
start.
say faith, what do you mean?
Oh, well, the belief, the way we believe in God.
So when you say, would you say faith would be like if you've heard like good arguments for God's existence, or like if you've seen miracles happen, would that be faith, or would that be some other kind of belief?
That is by sight.
Okay, so when you say faith,
That is when you believe by
you mean
sight.
belief without like evidence.
Yes, but I'm saying it's not a completely blind faith either.
Okay, so what's the part that makes it not blind?
Well, have you heard of the Shroud of Turin?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 1988 there was a carbon dating on it, which
Mm-hmm.
said it was from the 1500s,
The
but
1300s.
in 1532,
The 1300s.
yeah, in France,
Mm-hmm.
13, something like that. Well, but I don't exactly remember the year, but it was later on found out that that was done on a burnt piece that had been repaired in around that time. Secondly,
So just a quick question
there
about
is.
that. Why can't we see the repair?
Hmm?
What? So you look at the Shroud of Turin, there's no evidence of a repair. So how do you know that there was a repair?
Well, there was a fire in, I think it was 1542, and there is a really small part. It's only like 1,000 of whatever. I'm not so good in English, but
But there's no evidence of a repair,
one.
right?
Yes, there was a little repair. It was
But
in
where?
1542
You
after there
can't.
was a
There's
fire.
no evidence. Like, look. So repairs of cloths, you can see the
You
repair.
know
You
how
can
you
see
say
the
one
stitches
third?
and so on.
Well, you know I'm not really good at English, but you know how we say 1/3 or something? It's 1,000. One of 1,000,
So how do you know that it was repaired?
because it is documented.
Where
It
is it
happened in
documented?
1542.
Where is it documented?
I don't know. I searched it up.
So you can't tell
Look,
me. So what
it
if I told
was.
you that we actually know when it was forged, and it was forged in 1354?
Well, that was from a test done in
No, it
1988,
wasn't from
which
a
has
test. This
been.
was recorded in 1354 by the Pope of France.
No, it's not found, and it's the first time it's documented. It is
Yeah. It was
investigated by within
documented by the
France.
Pope of France that he had found the forger for the Shroud of Turin.
It wasn't found in France. It may have been moved there, but it was
No,
500
that's
years later. And
in.
even.
So I mean, maybe you just don't know. But in 1354, we have the writings from 1354 of the Pope of France saying, "Oh yeah, we found the guy who forged this cloth."
Well, look,
We
I have not
we
heard of
have the
that, but I know
writings
that.
of the Pope.
Look, if you really have that, that is cool. But what I know is that
Yeah,
there are
it
5 new
exists.
tests on the cloth. 5 tests. I think one of them was waxes. I don't know. Some of it was on the cloth, and all of them
I'm sorry,
stated
this
that
was
it was from
1390,
around.
not 1354.
Yeah, but well, look, but I know that the new tests was from around 200 BC to 400 AD or something like that.
So then
That is
why
what
is
the
it
new
that the
test
Bishop of
says.
Troyes, Pierre de Arcis, in 1390 wrote a memorandum to anti-Pope Clement VII, declaring that the shroud was a forgery and that a previous Bishop of Troyes, Henri de Poitou, had identified the artist who had made it.
Look,
Why did a pope
I am not stating that
why did a bishop
100% is
700?
real.
But I mean
I'm not saying it was
it's a simple question.
100% real, but
If it were actually not a forgery, why did a bishop of the church, why did a bishop of the church say that he had found the person who forged it?
I'm telling you, I don't know. Maybe it's not real, but I'm telling you that the newer tests at least says it was from around the 280, something like that, 400 BC to 280.
And what was
And
the name of
secondly,
this?
I'm
What was
not
the name of
saying
this?
that it is
Sorry,
not.
what were the name of the authors here
Uh,
of that paper? Because I've seen the paper that you're referring to, and if it's the paper that I think or I've seen many of these papers, and if it's one of the papers that I think you're referring to, the authors of that paper have basically done academic dishonesty in the past, and I don't think that we should really trust them.
uh, Look, I'm not really sure because I'm just gonna say that loud. I don't know, but I remember seeing there was 5 tests. I'm not sure if the shroud is legit or not, but I'm
Yeah,
telling
so we
you
have
that.
historical evidence and scientific evidence that it's not. Just seems
Well,
kind of
we also
strange.
have new tests on that it might be, but I'm not telling you that it 100%
Tests that
real.
were
I'm just
invented
saying.
for the purpose of testing the Shroud of Turin, which is kind of a little bit suspicious. Like they had to invent a new method to try to figure out how old this thing was in contradiction with other data.
Uh, if I go out of TikTok, can I then check it because
Yeah,
I
you can
have
minimize the app, just don't
notes on
close
it
the
or
app.
something?
You can minimize it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, so there was something called Raman test, vanillin test,
Sorry, can you tell me the names of the authors that ran
waxes.
these tests?
I did not write it down. But that is why I'm saying I don't know that it is real for 100%, but I am also saying that there
So they
might
did
be a chance it
Raman
is.
spectroscopy, this particular group.
I don't know
So
what group it
Raman
was.
spectroscopy isn't really used for dating things. So I don't know what that has to do with
One
figuring out the
second.
age. So what was the next test?
Uh, WAXS, something like that.
Wide angle X-ray scattering is also not used to date things. So
FTIR with like the minus thing in between.
spectroscopy, this is Fourier transform or Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, is also not used to date things. None of these are used to establish dates of when a thing was made. FTIR and Raman spectroscopy are used to figure out the composition of things. And WAX's, which is wide-angle X-ray scattering, wide-angle X-ray scattering methods, is just used to analyze like the structure of a thing, like what it's made out of and how it's made. It's not used to figure out the age.
Okay. So I did not do that much research on it, but yeah, it was you know when you Google something,
Mm-hmm.
the Google AI was the one that told me.
Don't rely on Google AI. It's not a particularly reliable source
Yeah,
for some of these things.
I know. But I did some research, mild research, not a lot. But if we move on from the shroud, what I can say there is that there is test, but as you say, may not be that reliable, and therefore I'm not saying that the shroud is completely reliable, but yeah, it might be. But if we move on from there, my thing is that you can't like really prove Christianity, but like you can, for example, are you an atheist by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so atheism has not we don't know how life was made. There is a theory called abiogenesis,
Mm-hmm.
and abiogenesis. Look, there are many theories I've heard, but the leading one is well abiogenesis. But abiogenesis is like I don't think it's been proved at least now, and I've heard scientists like Paul Davies, I believe, have stated that life cannot be made from non-life,
Okay.
and that is
Paul
what
Davies is a
I don't.
physicist. He's not a biologist.
Yeah, I don't know what the like headliner thing said. But at least I know for a fact that life cannot be made from non-life. Maybe
How do
in
you
the
know?
future they will do some science on that,
How do you know?
because no science has been, at least for now, we don't know that. For now, nothing has been,
But you
we
said
have
that you
not been
know that
able
it
to
can't
make
be
that.
done, not that you don't know if it can be done.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm not very good at English,
You're fine. I
my
mean,
third
look,
language.
if the claim is that there's no proof, like it's never been done in a laboratory to make life from non-life, like maybe that's true, but I mean, by that same token, it's never been done in a like God has never made life in a laboratory, so like you can't be using that as your evidence, right?
What? Could you please say that
If
again?
if the reason why you're rejecting abiogenesis is because there's no proof that it's ever happened, well then you have to reject theistic creation because there's no proof that that ever happened.
What is theistic? Sorry, I'm not that good at English.
The creationism, the kind of thing that you believe that you believe God made life.
Oh, okay, right.
If your position is that it's never been done in a lab, therefore that's evidence against evolution. Well, God creating life has
No,
never been done in a
not
lab,
against
therefore that's
evolution
evidence,
exactly.
or sorry, evidence against abiogenesis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Similarly, we've never seen God make life in a lab, therefore that's evidence against God creating life.
God is not a human. He,
Okay, well,
like, if you first
neither
need
was the
to,
chemistry that gave rise to life 4.5 billion years ago.
I'm not just in a lab. I've never seen life been made at all.
Well, I don't
God,
think
I
that
don't
that's
believe
really
God needs a lab, because
okay. Well, I don't
if
think
you
that
want to
life needs a
believe, you
lab.
need to. No, what the thing is that when you first believe, you realize that God is bound to human logic. Either
Oh,
way, the
wait.
universe.
God isn't bound to logic? Can God make a rock so heavy he can't lift it?
Bro,
You don't want to say that God isn't bound to logic.
I've actually heard that question before, and look, like, I don't really have an answer for that. Um, that is my, yeah, I'm open. I don't have an answer for that, but
Okay, that's fair.
yes, that's it. So, secondly, if it would prove that God doesn't exist, I really believe that it wouldn't matter, because I would have tried to use my time and my life to be a better person, to love everybody, and yeah.
But that seems, I mean, like maybe that's the case, and I believe you. But then why does it matter if God does exist if I'm spending my life to do the same?
Well, that is a fair argument, but well, it is a fair argument, I must say, but I think that God exists. You may
I
not,
know.
but that is, like, my point is that even if I believe, there is no, I don't lose on it. That is the thing.
Well, I
So I
mean,
believe that either I win a lot or I
look,
don't
you're
lose.
allowed to believe if you
I
want. Are we doing Pascal's wager?
Hmm?
I mean, so what if you believe in God, but atheismo exists, and atheismo sends everybody who believed in any god straight to the worst possible hell?
uh
Then there is a
the
downside.
thing of well, I wouldn't exactly say that, because I think I read this somewhere, but hell is not actually a burning place.
No.
It's
So if
where,
atheismo is real, then it is really, really bad. Like hell is like literally like you're on fire for eternity.
no, because that is Dante's hell. He was an
Oh no,
author who made
that's not
a
Christian hell. That's atheismo hell.
what?
Yeah, so say you spend your whole life believing, and the Christian God isn't real, but atheismo is real. A different God called atheismo is real. And
Mhm.
atheismo, one of the features of atheismo, is that he doesn't like believers. He only sends atheists to heaven. And everybody else gets sent to the worst possible hell imaginable. I
Yeah,
mean,
that doesn't sound that nice.
if that God is real, well, then there is a huge downside to believing, isn't there?
Well, I don't believe in atheism.
Okay, but you have to consider, what if you're wrong? What if atheismo is real?
Well, like I
Then there
really
would be a
don't see any
downside.
way it is real. But if it would be real, then I would be done. That is just straight up. Then I would be done. But I don't believe in that. I believe in Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
well, so I could say the exact same thing about Christianity. I don't believe in that. So why would I care what the outcomes are if Christianity is true?
And secondly, if atheism, that one was that like made that sounds like
Oh, atheismo
that
has
sounds
always
like a
existed.
joke. Like why would atheists go to heaven and not Muslims, Christian,
Oh,
Hindus?
because atheismo is chill like that.
Huh? Yeah, that doesn't sound really nice.
No,
But
it's really
at
cool.
least the concept.
Atheismo is really chill. Sends the people who rationally question their beliefs to heaven, and the people who just blindly accept faith to the bad place.
Uh, Look, I have never heard of atheism, and
Doesn't mean he's not real.
yeah, yeah, I know that, but like, I don't get the concept. If there would be some law, why would then people who just doesn't believe in anything go to atheist heaven? That it sounds really made up.
Why would people who believe go to Christian heaven?
Because we believe that if you choose to live your life with God, then you live your afterlife with God. If you choose to not live your life with God, you choose to live your afterlife now with God, and that is just the way. I don't
Yeah,
think it's a
so so
burning thing. But
so if
yeah,
atheismo is
continue.
real, sorry, there's some like racist spammers in the chat. If
Yeah,
atheismo is real,
that's
then atheismo only wants to spend time with people who are atheists. It's in the name, and he just doesn't like everybody else.
yeah. But we love everybody, and we hope we all get to live our life with God after judgment and afterlife. Uh, yeah.
Okay, Breivik. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. I think it was a good conversation. I hope you have a good day.
Likewise. Thanks for being here. Yeah, you got to be careful. Atheismo heaven is it's so easy to get into atheismo heaven. It's super easy. You just gotta not have faith. Peter, how's it going?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can. Do you believe in God?
Yeah. Do I believe in God?
Uh-huh.
What is God to you?
Well, look, I just asked you if you believe in God. Like, it's a pretty straightforward question.
No,
You should be able to
it
answer
isn't.
that question without knowing anything about what I believe.
But in order to answer the question,
I'm asking you,
need to know what the question
do you
is.
believe in a God? Like, it doesn't matter how I
Yes,
define it. Okay, you do? Okay, great. Which one?
my own.
Do you think that Jesus rose from the dead?
I believe the symbolism of Christianity is useful.
Do you believe that there was a guy named Jesus who died and then a few days later got up and walked around?
In a literal sense, I'll say no, but in a
Okay.
metaphorical sense, yes.
Okay. And do you think that a mind is responsible for creating the universe?
No.
Okay. It just doesn't sound like you believe in God in the sense that
I
I'm
think
interested in talking about. bring up another guest. Right,
Hello?
how's it going?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can. You doing all right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, but I have to ask
Do
one
you
question
believe,
first. Do you believe in God?
yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
If heaven is real, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends on what the heaven is like and who gets to go.
In a Christian sense, heaven is a resting place for those that are in communion with God.
Okay.
Do you
I'm
think that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
if it exists, does everybody get to go there or just some people?
If it exists, those that are in communion with the Creator gets to be in rest.
What does being in communion with the Creator mean? Like, can you become in communion with the Creator after you die?
Well, that's a mystery, right? We don't have we can't see it's how do I
So
explain this one?
is it pleasant?
Well, of course, we have
Then
descriptions of what
sure.
heaven is
I
like
mean,
in
I
the
would say that generally being in a place that's pleasant forever could be good.
could be good. Wouldn't you say it is good?
Well, I mean, there's some issues. Like, I don't know if I would want to exist forever, because that might be like torment eventually,
Well, that's
like
the thing. You're
monotony, that whole
thinking
thing.
about a finite. That's the thing. You don't know what infinity is,
Well, no, I'm
right? The
explicitly
universe,
thinking about an infinite existence. Like monotony becomes monotonous after a while, right?
right? I was gonna say I differ from different Christians because I actually believe that the Earth is 4 billion years old.
That's good.
Um, but I would say like, would you like when I think of infinity in a good place, I don't think of bad.
Well, I mean, look, I think that humans thrive off of change, and I think that monotony could eventually be bad if it's unchanging even forever, even if it's good. If it's good
But that doesn't
unchanging
say that heaven
forever.
is unchanging.
Well, okay, so that's the question. I mean, sure, if heaven exists and people get to go there, I think that's a good thing. I think it's bad if people if there's like a bad place as well, but yeah, sure, if heaven exists, but I don't see really a
Okay.
good reason to think that heaven does exist.
Well, the heaven exists because according to Christian principles, we know that those that are in communion with God will go to a place of resting, and
Well,
those that are
look,
not.
I understand that that's the belief system, but like I don't think the belief system is true.
Right.
So
What do you think? What do you think it would take you to believe that?
some sort of compelling argument or compelling evidence or compelling experience.
Uh yeah. Well, I would have to like convince you that the spiritual world exists and
Mm-hmm.
that according like the Bible says, we fight not against flesh and bloods, but against spirits and principalities. I don't know how
Okay.
I would convince you to get there.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here then. Have a good one. All right, let's bring up a guest from YouTube. Huss, how's it going? You are unmuted. Huss? Hus? Huss? Hus? Hees? Hus? You are in the voice chat, Huss. All right, let's disconnect Huss. Oh, I should read some super chats because I have a few. From Elisol Perez with the $10. Have you tried a new restaurant in AZ that you recommended? Did I? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I just don't remember. All right, I think Random Dude is up next in the YouTube queue. Random Dude, how's it coming? Random Dude, can you hear me? All right, Huss is back. Huss, welcome back. Can you hear me? Huss? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Oh,
Yes, hello?
can you hear me? Can you hear me
I
all
can
right?
hear you actually.
Okay, good. Yeah, so do you believe in a God?
Of course, I believe in God. Yes.
Okay, and which one, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a we call it Allah.
Okay,
I'm a
sure,
Muslim.
great. Sure. Yeah, so what would you say is like the most compelling argument you could give me that would, make me think that that God is real?
So I'm not gonna speak about that God exactly. That's the next step, I believe. But the first step will be he exists. That's the first step.
And what
And I will
properties?
argue that
What
the
properties
argument
does
of
it have?
creation. Yeah, I will start with the argument of creation, basically. That
Sure,
what the
but
universe came from.
so if you're not talking about Allah, if you're not talking about that God, which God are you talking about?
I'm talking about the creator.
So what properties does this creator have besides creating reality?
Let's first agree that he exists.
Well, I need to know who you're referring to. Is
No,
the
you need
only
to.
property that it has that it created the universe?
That would be the next step about his talking about his properties. But the first step will be, we have to agree that he exists. I mean
Look,
that we
Huss,
have to agree
I'm
that.
I'm struggling because you're saying, "Oh, I'm going to prove to you that he exists," and I'm like, "Who is he?" And you're like, "Oh, that's the next step. I first have to prove to you that he exists." Like, who? Who are you trying to prove to me that exists?
I'm trying to prove you that there is a God, a creator.
Okay,
He
and what
created
properties does this creator have so that I know what kind of thing we're talking about?
So we'll say that he is the Almighty. He can create
Almighty.
anything
Okay, so he can create anything. Cool.
within the reason, of course.
Within reason. Okay, he can
Okay,
create anything within reason. That's the only properties he has. Okay, great. So how do we know that such a
that's
thing
not the
exists?
only. He has so many other properties we believe in. That's not the only one. One of them is being the creator, that he
Okay.
created the universe. Another
Okay.
property that he's all-knowing, because he had all this knowledge in the universe, that he must have known them and had the knowledge about them before creating them. So these two properties of him.
Okay. And
Agree with
so are
that?
those the only properties that you're trying to prove exist in a being right now?
No.
Okay. So what other properties are you...
I just
Because,
no,
like,
no, we are talking about the properties before we talk about that he exists actually or not. So we need to first to agree that the universe did not come from nothing, and the
oh,
universe
I don't
must
think it
have
did come
something.
from nothing.
Excellent. We agree on that. The universe did not come from nothing. So what did it come from?
Well, I don't know if the universe had a beginning at all.
Okay. So you think you assume that the universe does not have beginning or might have
No,
a
I'm
beginning.
agnostic about it. It
You
may
are
have
not.
had a beginning. There may have been a first moment
For
of time.
this,
There may have
for
not been a first moment of time.
any argument or for any discussion.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, where'd he go? All right, we'll give him a minute to come back. I think he just disconnected. Is that Mr. Huss?
Yeah,
All
both
right,
of
welcome
which
back.
does not make sense.
You disconnected. Can you repeat what you were saying?
I'm sorry. So my argument is basically three choices, three options. We have that the universe came from nothing, or the universe created itself, or the universe was created by God, by something. We will call it God.
That's not a true that's not a true trichotomy. You could have that the universe always existed, so it was never created. You could have that the universe existed in an atemporal state, and then a temporal part, and coexisted with a temporal part. Those are two potential explanations that you're missing.
The universe always existed. Let's start with this one.
Sure.
So if the universe has always existed, so what made it to come? We know from our experience in this universe that we've never seen anything that came out of nowhere, and it's our intuitive reasoning that if you come to a room, for example, if you meet someone, you will never believe that this thing came from nothing, or this person, this thing came to existence in your world. It doesn't come to existence.
If the universe always existed, it never came into existence from nothing. It just always existed.
My argument is that this this defies your reasoning, your basic reasoning.
Which
as a human
reasoning
being.
does it defy?
That's nothing can exist for a long time.
I never said that nothing
forever.
could. I never said that nothing could exist forever. I said that something could exist
That's
forever.
your basic intuition.
I don't have any intuition about things always being finite.
You must have some intuition behind them. Intuition for anything. You must have some reasoning behind anything that you'll like base your whole reasoning above it. You have to have these small blocks.
Yeah, so like it seems
reason.
like there are a lot of things that are made of other things, and like we can rearrange other things into new things, and in some sense those new things, they had some sort of beginning, but the things that made them up, I don't have any reason to think that they had a beginning. Like the electrons the electrons and the quarks that make up all of the matter in the universe, I don't have any reason to think that that had a beginning. I don't have any intuition about that.
It's the same idea about talking about the universe and talking about these electrons and quantums.
Well, no, I mean the point is you're trying to say that I have some intuition about things or nothing having ever existed forever. But the thing is my intuition about things that had a finite existence, the only intuition I have is for things that are made of other things having a finite existence. So yeah, I agree that like, you know, this pen has a finite existence because like, you know, it was made in a factory. But like the stuff that makes up the pen, I don't have any intuition about that stuff being like made or having a beginning. You there? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
So my argument is, if you start with this pen, what made that pen the factory? What made the factory? And so
well,
on.
No. The point is sorry, Huss. You're mistaken. If you said if you said where did this pen come from, I'd say it comes from like atoms. Then you could ask where did the atoms come from, and I would say that those come from like electrons and quarks. And then if you ask me where the electrons and quarks come from, I would be like, they probably always existed. Or at least they've existed for the entire... Well, I would say that they existed for the whole time that the universe has existed.
Okay, how long?
Well, that's the question. I don't know. It may have always existed. It may have had some sort of first moment. But I don't have any intuition about like the fundamental makeup of the universe having a beginning. And he disconnected again. And he's back. Welcome back.
And everybody told you that this train...
Sorry, you cut out again. Can you repeat that? You have to stop like refreshing the page or whatever you're doing because it's disconnecting
my
you.
Internet is very poor for now.
Okay, no, you're fine.
So my argument is, if you woke up in a train, for example, you cannot just say this train has been there for a long time or forever, and you just continue with your life. You will ask this in your real life. You will ask what is going on. Why am I in the train? I used to have a life, or what's happening. So you will definitely will not accept.
I would definitely ask why I'm. I would definitely ask why I'm in the train. But what does that have to do with how long the train has existed?
Basically, you would never think that it's always been like that.
Why not?
If you ask why, that's a good question, but still.
No. I mean, like, what's the issue with thinking that something has always existed? Like, if you're relying on intuition here, I just don't share the intuition.
No, we share the intuition actually in our daily life.
No, we don't. I don't have that. I don't share that intuition with you.
I'll tell you how we share the intuition.
Are you a mind reader now? Like, I'm telling you, I don't have that intuition that you have.
I'm talking about you, me, and the whole human beings. We share that intuition because since the beginning of we know ourselves, we've been searching. We've been looking for evidence. We've been looking for scientific evidence. We've been searching everything, and we came to know the quantums, and we reached that level because we kept searching. That's our intuition.
Oh yeah, we have curiosity, but that doesn't say anything about us having an intuition for like thinking that everything has a beginning. They're unrelated.
I think it's kind of related. I think it's actually the point because
I'm trying to convey to you And, you know, as the expert, as the person who is most knowledgeable about my own state of mind, I don't have the intuition that everything must have a beginning. I don't have that intuition. If you have that intuition, great. But if you're trying to make an argument relying on me having that intuition, I don't have it.
Because if I have to convince you that you have the intuition, because if I took you for, if you got stuck in a room,
so you're not going to convince me. So
stuck in a room, I have to give you examples.
Intuition is a state of affairs of my mind. So it's a fact about my mind that I don't have that intuition. So if your argument relies on assuming that I have that intuition, your argument's going to fail.
Okay, if you woke up tomorrow in a room closed, just like a padded room, like the psychiatric facilities. If you woke up in that room, would you just sit down and keep looking around, like is that your every day, and you would not have curiosity, or you didn't have?
Of course I would have curiosity, but having curiosity and thinking that everything has a beginning are completely unrelated.
Why do you wouldn't think that it is the beginning, or you just feel like this have been always like that? You never think of it like it has been always like that.
What are you talking about?
You will say.
To be clear, I don't think that the universe has always been the same.
So, you don't believe that the universe created itself?
I don't think so. I'm agnostic on the issue, but I lean towards the universe not having a beginning at all. So there's no creation event, period.
This thing makes it doesn't make sense, basically.
Okay, well, that might be your intuition. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Then we are disagreeing with this on the common sense. We don't have the same.
So you saying that that doesn't agree with common sense is not a compelling argument, especially when it does agree with somebody else's common sense. Like, common sense is not an argument.
It's not an argument, of course, but it is a way to communicate. Now, if you don't agree that 1 + 1 = 2.
Oh, so you can prove that 1 + 1.
If you don't agree on that, you cannot.
But you can prove that 1 + 1 = 2. Can you prove that everything must have had a beginning?
How do you prove that 1 + 1 = 2?
It's in the Principia Mathematica. It was written by Russell and Whitehead in the early 1900s. They wrote a whole textbook on how you can prove this mathematically.
Actually, I'm not familiar with that.
And I mean, more basically, you can prove it given the definition of 1, the definition of plus, the definition of equals. There's a binary operation on the integers. The integers are defined by the cardinality of certain sets, and then you can define addition as repeated. What is it called? The repeated operation of the subsequent operator, and so on. So there's a way to prove it, and you learn how to do it at university.
All right. For this path, I'm not sure about it. I cannot really.
But anyway, I mean, you can prove that, but I don't think that you can prove that the universe had a beginning.
I think I can prove it because
okay,
what
how do you
options
prove it?
do we have?
Either the universe had a beginning, either there was a first moment of time, or there was not a first moment of time, right?
So, which more makes more sense to me, that it has a beginning.
Okay, but saying it makes more sense to you is not like gonna convince somebody who doesn't hold that view.
We can disprove the other arguments.
Okay, how do you disprove it? How do you disprove that the universe didn't have a beginning?
That the universe did not have a beginning by proving that for us we have the Big Bang. We came to like.
I agree. The Big Bang. I agree that the Big Bang happened.
Yeah. We have some scientific evidence of some beginning.
What evidence do we have of the beginning? You there? Hello? Who's?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Cool, I can hear you now. Yeah, so what's the evidence that we have a beginning?
So because I cannot comprehend with my common sense the circular argument that the
What
universe. I
Sorry-
don't believe that it
sorry,
created itself because it has
what's the circular argument?
circular argument. That's basically if I tell you, if I give you if there is a what do you call the army president or the army chief, he's given an order to his soldier, and he cannot execute that order unless he gets an order, and then he cannot execute an order unless he gets an order from chief above him. If that is the arguments, if that is the case for
But
each
where's the
one,
circularity?
they are infinite.
Where's the circularity?
Will the that's basically if we say that this does not you get my argument now. This
So you're doing the sniper analogy. The sniper analogy fails because it goes in the wrong direction. So a better explanation would be something like, or a better analogy would be something like, well, the sniper took a shot, and he took a shot because his commander gave him the order, and his commander gave him the order because the commander's commander gave him the order, and the commander's commander gave him the order because his commander's commander's commander gave him the order, and that goes on forever. And there's no issue with that.
If the order was given, that means somebody.
Yeah, it means that the person before them gave the order. Yep. No, it doesn't. So, it just means that there's an infinite chain of people who have given orders.
It wouldn't have been given if he's still waiting for somebody else.
Well, no, the previous person already gave the order.
He cannot give the order if there's somebody behind him that hasn't.
Somebody behind him got the order before him.
We'll keep going this way until.
Yeah. So there's an infinite chain of commanders, and each commander has given the order to their subordinate. And then the sniper took the shot now.
This does not make sense.
Sure it does. There's no issue with having like an infinite causal explanation. Like the sniper took the shot because yesterday their commander gave them the order, and then the day before that the commander's commander gave them the order, and the day before that the commander's commander's commander gave them the order, and so on. There's no issue with that.
That doesn't make sense in real life.
It makes sense mathematically. Now, if you have an issue with having it absolutely does make sense mathematically. Now, if you have an issue with the existence of an infinite amount of people, well, maybe that's the case because people probably haven't existed forever. But that's why it's an analogy. It's not, an exact representation.
Well, it represents actually the real life.
It's a representation. It's an analogy. It's not like an exact, like people don't exist forever, but like there's no issue with having the universe having existed forever.
I don't know. What I know exactly that is these three arguments between having the universe existing for a long time, forever, or between that or having a God who created.
That's not the only alternative, by the way.
So what's the alternative?
Yeah, so you could have. So you could have a first moment of time, and then there is no before that, and rather there's only a timeless state that exists absent time.
So what made that switch from nothing or timeless to time?
So it's not an event that takes place, it's a place. So imagine that you have like a timeless universe, but somewhere in that timeless universe is where time begins.
So, I cannot imagine that.
It's a little bit hard to picture, but like mathematically it's sound. It's taken fairly seriously amongst cosmologists.
Interesting.
It's called the Hartle-Hawking model. It was proposed in the 80s or 90s, I think.
I mean, I'm not familiar with this way of argument, but it doesn't make sense.
Well, the failure of it to make sense to you. The failure of it to make sense to you is not an argument against it, right? Of course,
this is not definitely. I agree with that. But the idea, it's basically says rather than it was an event, it was a timeless, then it became a time.
Well, it's not that the whole timeless thing became time. It's that there is a timeless universe, and there's a place in the timeless universe where time starts.
So what is that place, and what it?
It's just a place. A region, if you will.
Yeah,
where
I get
space gives way to
the idea,
time.
but I'm not sure that explains the idea, because what that place came from.
Well, the place, so we have to view this as like a four-dimensional kind of the entirety of space-time view. And in the entirety of space-time view, it's at least mathematically possible that you can have a four-dimensional spatial space-time in one region of the space-time, and then in another region of the space-time, there's time. And they're just connected. And so you can, if you go back in time, you end up at a moment where there's no moments before that, but there are spaces before that.
Nice. So for our universe, it was nothing. Then it...
No, it wouldn't have been nothing. There would have never been nothing. It's just purely spatial. Who's he there?
I don't think this explains the answers the argument or answers the question of the beginning.
Sure, it does. It says that the beginning of time happened in a particular place in the space-time, in like the 4D space-time, and then before that there was no time. It was just purely space.
So we basically deferred the question from asking the beginning of time to it's a places, and it's began with this place. So what this place?
Yeah,
how did this place begin?
So the place didn't begin. It's a place. Places just exist.
No, you see, we basically shifted our terminology, our
so it doesn't need so if you're talking about the entirety of 4D spacetime, the entirety of 4D spacetime doesn't need a beginning because it's all there is. It contains time within it. It doesn't make sense to ask about what the beginning of the thing is that contains time. It's not a question that makes sense.
We cannot ask about the time, the whole time, because we believe the God
you can't ask about the origins of the whole thing.
But we ask about our universe.
Well, so our universe is just a moment, or like, we can think of the universe, the space that we currently exist in is like a moment of time of that whole four-dimensional thing. But that whole four-dimensional thing, for most of it, there's time. But for a small chunk, 13.8 billion years ago, there was no time. It was just space.
I still feel that we haven't eliminated everything. We still went to a certain point.
So we're not talking about something having we're not talking about the universe having a beginning. We're talking about time having a beginning, but the universe would have existed in a timeless sense, even prior to the Big Bang, whatever that might mean. And you don't have an issue with things existing timelessly because that's what you think God does.
Exactly. I cannot have everything existing timelessly unless I have, because we base that on the God that he's timeless.
Well, yeah, so what's the issue with having space exist timelessly?
Basically, you shifted, I think you could pray to space.
Why would I pray to space? It doesn't have a mind. It's not. Why would I pray to it? It doesn't have a mind.
That we think. Now, here's the argument. That we see knowledge here, we see evidence of knowledge, we see evidence of design. I have difficulties.
When you say we see evidence of design, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by design? What does design look like?
Basically, having the DNA, the atoms. Let's see, atoms are made of atoms, and then they are made of elements, and they combine and made and so on and so forth. The building blocks. There's some element of design. That's what I'm saying.
So what is the element of design that you see? Like, what is the characteristic that you're using to point at something being designed as opposed to not being designed?
So if I look in my body, for example, I see.
I don't want an example. I want a criteria that I can use to establish whether something is designed or not.
Whether something is designed or not.
I want a criteria, yeah.
I'm not. I don't have a specific criteria.
Then how
But
can you,
I would
if
say,
you don't have a criteria, how do you know if anything's designed?
I would say it's designed. It has some information. It has information in it. That's my idea. That we have like information, like
Can you,
example.
just to be clear, can you elaborate on what you mean by information? Do you just mean like you can characterize a system with like some set finite number of parameters, or?
We say information like in data basically. We
So
have
like in what sense does an atom contain information?
It could be energy. The type
Energy?
of energy it has, yeah.
So
It contains some energy. This atom contains
and
certain amount of
that's
energy in deep
and that's
bonds.
information?
That's it's a level of information, definitely.
What
Because
part of it is
this-
information?
This level equal this level of energy in different atom.
Okay, so you're just talking about like being able to describe a system with some number of parameters. By the way, your mic just got really quiet.
Atoms, different electrons. This.
Yeah. Okay. So
the
when you
other
say
is
information, you
different,
just mean that there's a way.
different number.
Who's?
So
Can you
they
hear
are
me?
different.
Who's? Can you
This
hear
is
me?
basic- this is
Who's?
basic
Can you hear me?
knowledge.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
So if
Did
by
you hear what I said?
yeah, but your mic was really quiet. So look, if by information you just mean that you can describe a system with some finite set of numbers, like energy or angular momentum, then sure. But I don't understand why being able to describe something with a finite number of values or a finite number of parameters means that it's designed. It actually seems like that's kind of exactly what you would expect, that you could describe something in a finite way.
Before we come to a finite way, you went for the argument that it's a infinite universe, that it was always existed or kind of did not came from certain place.
Yeah.
I would lean toward, instead of that having its infinite universe that always existed, I would lean toward that it had a creator with knowledge that started
But wait,
all this.
hold on. Can you address what I said?
What do you say?
I said, why is it that being able to describe something with a finite number of parameters means that it's designed? Because boiling down your argument, that's what you mean by information, just a finite number of parameters.
How can I say that? Because I'm building that, since there's information here, now the information being designed or not being designed, I would argue it's being designed because of the beauty of it.
Beauty.
Structures that we can create patterns.
Have you seen the standard model of particle physics, Lagrangian, in its full glory?
No.
Okay, because anybody who's seen it will definitely tell you that it's not beautiful.
Yeah, but when you come to that details, to that depth, I know we've had multiple understanding of its details, and some of them were wrong, but there is a pattern that
so
we are.
I don't think the existence of patterns means that there's a designer.
But there is some element of design.
The element of design is patterns. I don't agree that patterns imply a designer. So how do we cross that bridge?
So you think that's you feel that randomness or
can give rise to patterns?
Chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have the hard time to believe that.
So actually, I can give you an example. So the prime numbers are distributed, like you can study their distribution. They're distributed randomly. Like if you study their distribution, they are random. They're distributed exactly as often as you would expect them to be if they were randomly distributed. And yet, when you arrange them in a particular way, there's something called an Ulam spiral, you see what appears to be patterns popping out of something that's apparently random. But that doesn't mean it's not random. It just means that patterns can arise out of randomness, and that I just don't see any issue with that.
I'm not sure about this exact. I don't have an answer for this exact thing, but the idea of having we reached a point about the beginning and the creation and the having a beginning or a starting point for this universe.
I don't think that the
That
universe
would
had a beginning. At least I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not confident in that.
That point, yeah, that point. I think you lean toward that it was infinite,
Yeah, I
rather
do.
than it had a beginning.
But
For
even if
me,
it
I
had a
feel like
beginning, it doesn't need a creator to have a beginning of time, as I have explained.
So then, if we agree that it might have the beginning, no, it had a beginning, but I can't dispose of the fact that it was infinite because of that argument I already mentioned to you, the sniper analogy.
Well, no, I mean
You framed.
the analogy doesn't really work, and I explained why. Because it was in the wrong direction.
I still feel that this analogy it explains that an infinite universe, an infinite order
it goes the wrong
of
direction. Why would it goes the wrong direction? Why? What does it have to do with an infinite past?
It has to. It will basically tell us that there must be a beginning.
No, but it goes the wrong direction.
How so?
Because you're saying that something needs to start. He needs to request orders to get this to make the shot, and then the person above him needs to request orders, and you're saying that it starts at the request of orders. But I'm saying there isn't a start, that the orders have been given for eternity, and they finally make their way down to the sniper. You're going the wrong direction. You're trying to go from the sniper backwards. I'm talking about going from the infinite past forwards.
This my argument, my rebuttal for this thing, that it cannot happen because our common sense. If you came to your house and you found, no, we have to have common sense. If you don't have common sense,
you have to make deductive arguments, or at least inductive arguments, and common sense is neither.
Basically, common sense we're talking about. What we describing the deductive arguments. Yeah.
Common sense says that the Earth is flat and that that the sun goes around it. That doesn't mean it's true.
Okay. So no, I'm talking about the purest deductive argument. That is.
Okay, but you haven't made a deductive argument. You haven't made a deductive argument. You've made a false analogy, and then you've relied on common sense. So give me the premises.
The premises.
What's premise one? I'll write it down.
Something. The first one. Something cannot come from nothing.
Okay. How do we defend that premise? Actually, you know what? Just give the whole argument, and then we can talk about it. So, premise one: something cannot come from nothing. Okay, what's premise two? Okay, what's premise two?
And something cannot exist for at least in our universe, in our life. We haven't seen anything that exists for eternity.
What's the premise? You're justifying the premise. Just give me the premise.
Let me finish it. And since our universe had a beginning, and actually since our universe exists, that means it had a beginning. And that beginning.
And what's the next premise, or what's the conclusion?
Yeah, the conclusion that our universe must have been created by something.
Okay. So let me reread this. So here's your argument that you gave. Premise one: something cannot come from nothing. Premise two: since our universe exists, that means it had a beginning. Conclusion: our universe must have been created. So all of those are non sequiturs. There's nothing deductive about it. There's not an inference rule that allows you to derive the conclusion from the first two premises. The conclusion contains statements about something being created. Neither of the premises say anything about anything being created, so you can't derive creation of the universe from something that doesn't involve creation of the universe. Second, the first and second premise, something cannot come from nothing, and since our universe exists, that means it had a beginning. These two are unrelated premises, and they don't relate at all to the conclusion. So, want to try again?
I guess.
Okay, what's premise one? What's premise one?
That everything has a beginning.
Okay, everything has a beginning.
Okay, at least in our universe. We're talking about our universe now. Everything has a beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's premise two?
And premise two: nothing can exist from nothing. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has a beginning, and nothing can exist from nothing.
Okay. What's next?
And since our universe had a beginning, there must have had a tipping point, or basically, since it had a beginning, there must been something that made it. It cannot be made from itself, and it
But
cannot
you're
be.
stuck again. So premise one says everything has a beginning in our universe,
Mhm.
but that doesn't say anything about our universe having a beginning. And then premise two is nothing can exist from nothing, or nothing can come from nothing is probably what you meant. Or which, I guess is perhaps true. And then you say, since our universe had a beginning, there must have been something that made it. But premise one doesn't say anything about our universe having a beginning, nor does premise two. So how do you conclude that our universe had a beginning? You said everything has a beginning in our universe. Our universe isn't in our universe. It's the whole thing. You there, Hoos? All right, I'm going to move on to the next guest since we've gone through this now a few times and it seems like you're having internet issues. But thanks for being here, Hoos. I do appreciate you. He was honest. He was doing his best. From Fear's interaction with the $10, thank you so much. Something not having a beginning is irrational. Now check out my God. Look, yes. So that is one of the issues. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's bring up another guest. This person has just a profile picture of like a Roman guy, I want to say. So may very well be interesting.
Oh, hello?
Mr. Caesar, how are you?
Oh, it's not Caesar, it's Napoleon.
Mr. Napoleon. Okay, well, Napoleon was definitely channeling Julius Caesar. So, Mr. Napoleon, do you believe in God?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay, just for my edification, which one?
Oh, Islam.
Okay, cool. And what would you say is the most compelling reason that you could give me to convince me that Islam is true?
Well, I know scientists cannot explain why the universe has started, why there's a beginning. And I look at reasons. We have religion, right? And I feel like Islam is a true one.
Well, but hold on. I'm not familiar with any science that says the universe has a beginning.
Isn't
So
Big Bang the beginning?
No, it's not understood that way. No.
Oh, so what's the popular narrative?
Well, if you ask physicists, they will tell you that the Big Bang is a theory that describes the rapid expansion and then continued expansion of our universe from a hot, dense state.
Oh, hello?
Can you hear me?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut off.
You're fine.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So the way physicists understand the Big Bang is as a theory that describes the rapid expansion and then subsequent expansion of the universe from a hot, dense state.
So hold on. If I told a physicist, in particular a theoretical physicist, when did the universe begin? Do they not have an answer?
You should try it right now. Why don't you tell me?
All right. When did the universe start, according to you?
I don't know. I don't know if it had a beginning.
Yeah. All right. So that's my reason. No one truly knows, right? So I look at reasons. I have religion.
That's true. No one knows.
I took a look at Islam. Yeah. So I need a reason. That's my human nature. So that's why I look at Islam, and I believe it's true because it
But
does
what if I gave you a reason that was like, the gelatin man made it? That's a reason, but it doesn't mean that's a good reason.
Well, yeah, I could say someone else made it, but that doesn't mean it's true, right? But you have to look at what makes it true, which is the holy book, right? You look at it, and
I could
if
say
you
that
don't
it didn't
find
even
any
have a beginning.
contradiction, that means it's true.
I could say that it didn't even have a beginning. And now what?
In order for something to happen, like, so this is like philosophy, right? For something to be there, there has to be a beginning. So
Why?
that depends
Wait,
on
hold
our
on.
philosophical views.
You don't want to believe that. You don't want to make that claim.
Why not?
Because if you said for something to be there, it has to have a beginning, but that would mean that God must have a beginning.
Well, look, when religious figures are asked these questions, they believe that there must be a true beginning, right? Which is God.
So did God not have a
To be
beginning?
honest, this just according to Quran, the Quran, the holy book, he was always there.
Okay, so then it's not true that everything that exists has a beginning.
Look, this depends on our philosophical views. If you go based on your assumption that not everything has to have a beginning,
Well,
then
no, this is
you
your
can go
assumption.
nowhere.
You don't think
right?
God has a beginning.
No one can answer anything.
Well, to be clear, you don't think God has a beginning, so you don't think everything has a beginning either.
Well, look, all right. The laws of the universe do not apply to God.
Is everything
for
has a
God,
beginning
there doesn't
a
have to be
law
a
of the
beginning.
universe?
But we're
So-
talking about the universe right now.
Wait, so when you say everything has a beginning, are you saying that that's a law of the universe?
No, I'm talking about everything in the universe and the universe itself.
Is this a law of the universe?
But if you're like something that well, if you take a look at it, like everyday things, for something to happen, there has to be a beginning. Like
No, there has to for everyday
life, right?
things. For everyday
life
things,
wasn't always there. This is a law in the universe.
Napoleon. For everyday things, we typically intuit that it has to have a cause.
Oh,
Not a beginning, a cause.
all right. Well, look, what I mean is, let's talk about life, right?
Okay.
According to, I don't know if this is a biological expertise, but life didn't come about until about like 4.5 billion years ago, right? No,
Yep.
sorry, a billion
it's-
years ago, I believe.
No, it's about 4.5 billion years ago, a little bit less, maybe 4 billion years ago.
All right.
So what about it?
All right, so the beginning, right, to life. There wasn't no life before that.
Yep.
That's what we know.
Sure.
All right, so that means, things in the universe has to have a beginning, right?
Wait, how does that follow? Life
All right,
had a
but
beginning. How does
look,
that mean
this
that
doesn't apply to
everything in
God,
the universe
something
must have a
else.
beginning?
Well, look.
Am I lagging? Because everybody's saying
So
stop
what
cutting
you're
him
saying
off,
is,
but like I'm not. I'm only talking when he's done talking. So I don't know. Am I lagging, guys?
I think it's my Wi-Fi. It's on my part.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me right now?
I can. I just don't know if there's lag or something.
All right. If there is, it's on my part. All right. So, if we go based on the assumption that, all right. So you said it's not like certain that everything has a beginning, right?
Yeah, I don't see why we should believe that.
All right. So, let's talk about God right now. Let's go off of your assumption. So God doesn't have a beginning, right?
I don't think that God exists. So
Well, let's just assume he is, right?
why?
So I can say my argument, all right?
So your argument relies on your argument
So I
for
can go
God's
ahead and
existence
continue.
relies on assuming God exists?
Well, look, if you go off of the assumption that uh, things doesn't have to have a beginning, right? So that's I think that's what you believe, right? That's all right. I'm gonna go off of that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So God doesn't have a beginning, and you believe the universe doesn't necessarily have a beginning. So
Sure.
which one makes more sense?
The universe not necessarily having a beginning makes more sense to me.
Yeah. If God was always yes, if God was always look. A lot.
His Wi-Fi is crumbling. All right, I'm gonna have to kick Napoleon. He can come back later. We do have a guest who's been waiting a long time to come on. John Jackson, how's it going?
Hi, it's going good. Can you hear me all
Long
right?
time no chat.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't want to call in all the time. I'll take a break.
I feel
for a
like you
little
and I
bit.
haven't actually talked about God before.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
So
No,
I
this is
figured
one of the ones that-
so if it was about another topic, I probably wouldn't have brought you up. But because we haven't actually talked about God before, and I think that's the reason you originally wanted to come up in the first place, I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay, cool. All right, all right. So I guess I kind of have a couple premises like the other
Sure.
guy. But so I guess the first part is like the scientific process, which I like love. Like, you know, my background I feel like is like very similar to like your sphere of like culture, where like I am super into science, I'm super into learning how the world works
Sure.
and all that. And but I also had this love of film and I love art and aesthetics, and I didn't know how to like bridge those two things.
Sure.
And it actually kind of led me to a situation where I started thinking my life was like kind of pointless. And well, sorry, I'm getting comfortable, a little nervous. Um, like I guess the scientific process as a method, like a priori, it throws out subjective experience as like part of its function, as part of its method. And so afterwards, then they turn around and look at the world and they say that, oh, there's no purpose, there's no teleology. But that's kind of a problem because that seems like it was kind of the job of the thing in the first place. And you could kind of just say, well, that's all just kind of junk. That's all just kind of like, you know, evolved randomness that's just kind of human particular, that's not important, you know what I mean, for us understanding the universe. Um, but at the same time, like consciousness seems, we haven't made any understanding into consciousness through the scientific method. I mean, something in regard to physicalism, I think you can make arguments in that regard. We could say that like, well, there's like some correlation in the brain between certain physical properties and certain thoughts. You could like say something like along those lines, but actually describing consciousness in and of itself as far as like experience, we've made no inroads with that as far as science goes. And I honestly, I think that consciousness has more to do with like ontology, with being. I mean, you made the point the other day that like, well, I can't, how can I think of something abstractly, like an abstract object existing without matter? And I'm like, I agree with that, but I also don't think that you can make the point that matter exists without consciousness.
How do you
Like,
figure?
I think, like I think the idea of an objective world removed of a subjective viewer, that's only something that exists in the head of subjective beings. And I'm not making like a solipsistic argument, you know, because I can lean out right in front of me and touch the table in front of me. But it is to say that, to say what the table feels like, and that includes the perception of it, because what a table is, like a table isn't like a, it's not a mathematical concept, it's not an objective concept. To say what that table is without a subjective observer, that's actually that's an impossible question.
Well, so I would say that notions like tables and chairs and computers and cars and stars and all of these things, absolutely, they are they're categories of things that and categories are, at least in my view, categories are things that humans made up and are part of the human subjective experience. You know, it's a nice way to organize our experience, right? In terms of categories, but that doesn't like necessarily say that all things are merely their subjective experience. I mean, like, it may be the case that we have no way to access an external world outside of our subjective experience, but that doesn't rule out the existence of an external world, right?
Yeah, no, I'm really not. I'm not trying to make a solipsistic argument to say that, like, you know, I mean, to some degree, I
Are you
do
making an
believe that
idealist argument, or are you like, would you say you're an idealist or more of a dualist?
So I just want to get this straight because I'm not even sure what the dichotomy. So a dualist is someone who believes that consciousness is a separate realm from the material, and then what was the other one you said? A
An
cognitivist
idealist.
mind. An idealist believes that, like, the external world is fragmentations of all one mind. Correct?
Well, it
Right?
doesn't have to be one mind, but that it arises from a mind or multiple minds.
So, like, an example would be like, okay, I could eat this chair, and that chair gets incorporated. You know what I mean? Then that chair no longer becomes an external object. That's kind of like.
So my understand, and I could be wrong, but my understanding of idealism is just that there is no external world, there are only minds, and then the experiences of minds. There is no physical
Uh,
stuff.
okay. I mean,
But
that
and that's a view that some people take
my understanding
seriously.
is that, like, that like, I thought they believed. I this is from my understanding from Bernardo Kastrup, and I don't clearly understand what he believes, but, like, that at the beginning of the universe, it was basically just one mind, and that, like, there was a stressful event that basically, like, actually, this is more of his theoretical thinking, so I don't want to put that out there like this. But it was all one mind that basically was split apart, you know. And so
Okay, sure.
that explains
But
all
that
the mind body problems as far as, like, if I just, like, split in half like a flat worm, like, would I be two different people, or would I be
sure.
that same? You know what I mean? That's how you.
Yeah.
solve
So
all
I guess idealism is that the fundamental substance is mind, right? Physicalism or materialism is like the fundamental substance is stuff, and then dualism is like there's a fundamentally mental type of substance, and there's a fundamentally physical type of substance, and they interact in some way.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I think that I guess to bridge more kind of like why I am a Christian, to make the conversation a little more grounded in particular, I guess. So I like the Jungian style of thought. Basically, they make the hypothesis that, like, your conscious perception is structured evolutionary speaking. Like, your psychological mind is structured by evolution, and so that you can learn about the development of the human mind through studying the symbols cross-culturally in ancient through ancient cultures. And also it's more than that, because it's also like looking at even, like, evolution, the evolutionary process from the actual being itself, because something that I've been thinking about a lot is, like, from
Hold
the
on, but
perspective.
how
Yeah,
does this get you to Christianity?
I was about to make a burning bush reference.
Okay.
Like something interesting, that's usually, we symbolize that with a flame, and, like, a flame has literally been guiding speciation from the perspective of being since the beginning of time.
John Jackson, are you a fan of Jordan Peterson?
I am, absolutely, yeah.
I knew it. I could tell by the way that you didn't make any sense.
Okay, well, I don't know. This is so hard for me because, like, as a person, I was a very strong atheist, like, very. You know what I mean? Like, I love.
So was Jordan Peterson until he went on to One Christian versus 20 Atheists, and then apparently he wasn't a Christian, and he was Schrodinger's Christian, if you will.
No, honestly, like, I'm probably I'm probably the biggest Jordan Peterson fan that you've probably met. I've seen
You shouldn't be.
No, like, honestly, like, he gets a bad rap for sure.
He
Like,
just, I mean, well, he gets a bad rap
I-
because he is a horrible communicator.
see, from my perspective, I mean, I guess you don't understand what I'm saying either, but, like, he's
Right.
he's very crystal clear. And like I said, I came at it from an atheist. And by the way, the reason why he doesn't say, we even talked about this in an interview right after, but, like, this is, it's very heuristic to say that you're a Christian, actually. Like, Nietzsche said that there's only one Christian and his name is Christ, and I think that's actually true. Like,
I think that's reading too deep into it. A Christian, I mean, is a person who believes that Jesus is the Messiah, that Jesus rose from the dead, that Jesus partakes in perhaps a Trinity, perhaps some sort of unitary thing, that Jesus is divine. That's what being a Christian is. Like, it's so simple.
That's one way of looking at it. Another way of saying is that to be a Christian is to follow Christ, and to follow Christ means that you'd be willing to go through what Christ went through, which is a lot to ask of anyone.
I mean,
no,
arguably, I mean, for what it's worth, I would say that there are people who have experienced worse, right?
I mean, like, who?
Anybody that Vlad the Impaler impaled?
You know, I don't know. You know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that being impaled, that being Vlad the Impaled, is probably more painful and more suffering than being crucified. That's a guess, but I would imagine so.
But you're also innocent. You know, like honestly, and if I was being impaled, I would be thinking that Christ is here with me. I wouldn't be thinking that, oh, this is worse than what God went through.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, as far as like the suffering involved, like Vlad the Impaler was like pretty famous for like kind of maxing that out.
I don't know, like the way it's just understood is, I guess that's just kind of the worst thing that could happen to anyone. So like I don't know
Crucifixion
exactly...
or
no, what Christ went through in particular.
Well, what else did what other bad things did Christ go through besides the crucifixion?
I don't think I need to lay a different one out. You know what I mean? He's a person who's there just to help, and he has to go through. I mean, it's a more extreme version of Job in a way. It's
well,
like,
no, I mean, like, look,
people
look,
always say, well, how
all
God
things considered,
do that to Job. It's like
all
God
things considered,
experienced
like,
particular Job.
up until like the end of his life, he actually had a pretty good life. He had 2 loving parents in his family, even though one of them wasn't biologically his parent, right? They took care of him. They took him away from danger. He had a normal childhood, apparently. Like, we don't have any records of it anyway. And then by the time he was 29, he became super popular, and
So
people just listened to him. And then people listened to him. The government got mad, and so the government executed him. Like, all things considered, like, he didn't suffer nearly as much as a lot of people.
So the government was actually trying to kill him before he was a baby, since before he was born, and he was rejected by the people of his home because they didn't see him as the Messiah or anything like that. They're like, you're
So
not a good person.
to be clear, I don't know if it
He's
counts.
in exile for his entire. He's in exile for his entire.
I don't know if people not believing that you're the Messiah counts as suffering.
It's not about them not believing he was the Messiah. It's not like he went back home and claimed that he was God, but he went back to his hometown and they were basically like, "Who are you?" And they rejected him basically for being like
when he was 29, yeah,
an outsider, for being a foreigner.
When he was 29 or so.
I think. I mean, I don't know his exact age. It's not something that's really
Well,
important.
he was like in his late 20s, early 30s. I think is like general historical consensus.
Okay. Yeah. But like, yeah. No, I mean, he was in exile for his whole adult life.
Okay, but there are people alive today who have been in exile for their entire life, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, you know, like, did you know that like there was a figure that the Greeks worshipped? His name was I'm forgetting his name. The Eleusinian Mysteries. It's around Dionysus.
Yeah, there was a cult of Dionysus. That's true.
So the reason why I'm bringing him up is because honestly, like for the longest time, I kind of just considered myself like, am I like Jewish? Because like I considered myself to be a person that believes that these ancient stories, that they are literally above us. They reveal this earthly world, you could say. Honestly, you know, people say that these are just allegorical. You know, I kind of say that this world is an allegory for that in a way. That's actually kind of the pure pattern of what the world is.
Hold on. So sorry to interrupt, but I have to ask the question. Do you think that if you placed a GoPro in Jesus's tomb from the moment he was placed there, would you record a man getting up?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so at least you can answer that question.
Yes, I think the world is actually a story. And by the way, Jordan Peterson said the same thing.
Yeah, it only took like 20 minutes of ribbing.
Because it's just it's not what he's talking about. He's trying to help people to see that there's another way of understanding the world, I think, you know? It's just like,
I mean, sure, but like, okay, so what would you say is like a compelling reason that I should believe that happened?
Well, I mean, okay, so like I think that from a scientific perspective, I think that what do you think about the theory of convergent evolution?
It's a thing that happens.
So, okay, I think that there is actually the universe is conspiring and converging on an organism. Is that distinct? Do you think anything?
The universe is convergent? No, I don't. That seems a little far-fetched to me.
Okay. Well, so I mean, and that's the way I put it. I put it a little more science fiction than the way I believe it. Like natural selection is selecting for general problem-solving ability. basically.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
it's not directing. Yeah, yeah. So I learned this like not very long ago, but it's
I mean,
maybe 5
problem.
years ago now. But it's
Maybe problem-solving ability is not the right word. Like, ability to not die when problems happen is probably a better way of phrasing it, but that's fine.
yes. I mean, same. Yes, that's fine. Okay, so like, and this is a different definition from when people say that organisms are adapted to their environment and to their niche. They are, but the thing is that environments change, and so you're actually adapted to change, especially at the micro level when things are first
Well,
started. The environment's changing pretty fast.
so they're. It's not necessarily the case that they're adapted to change. It's that the ones that aren't adapted or are not able to change die.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what natural selection is selecting for problem solving. That's what I mean. Okay.
Okay, sure. If that's what you mean, then sure.
So, what that process is, the process of learning, is the phoenix imagery. It's dying and coming back in a higher order. Like that's the process of speciation. That's the process of evolution. Like so, like a flatworm, it's process of learning. Not flatworm, a slime mold. I like these primordial creatures. They have to learn to go through salt to get through food, or they can learn that very quickly. And so immediately
Yeah.
things can learn like it's going through
Sure.
pain
Slime molds have a form of
to
intelligence.
clear
I agree.
salvation. Exactly, like that's just going through pain to gain salvation. That's the fish going out of water.
But why do you
That's
call
the
it
basic
salvation?
pattern. Because it's saving you and your ancestors as far as you can look out into the infinite.
Okay, but what does this have? And so what does this have to do with the reason I should believe that there was a man named Jesus who rose from the dead?
So from the beginning of time, like the first religious stories that people had, the earliest one that we have is actually of a fish man who went to the bottom of the ocean and brought up something useful for people. And so I just that our entire human experience is been waiting for that person. I don't know, and structured around that person, and the fact that person actually came in.
Wait, the fish man or
real
Jesus?
World. Both.
Well, but look,
But
I can agree that humans tell stories of a certain kind. Like I'm sure you're familiar with the with what is it? There's a name for it by John Campbell, Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, the Hero of a Thousand Faces.
The hero's journey. I'm like humans tell humans, like, despite how creative we think we are, we have like half a dozen different stories that we tell, right? But what does that have to do with what like historically happened?
Well, actually, that's one of the reasons why I particularly like Christianity. Like, it's the first historical religion, and the stories in Genesis. I mean, they are older than writing. I mean, the not the ones where they talk about the planets and all that and the creation, but like with Adam and Eve, that one is probably from an oral tradition that goes back before writing, so like tens of thousands of years.
I'm not familiar with that claim, but it also seems irrelevant. You say that it's the first historical religion, and I guess
Yes.
in some sense you could say that it's historical in that like there probably was a guy named Jesus who probably walked around and said certain things. But like the question is the historicity of the resurrection, right?
Yeah, but all these characters like Elijah, like Moses and Abraham and stuff like that, like you don't this as far as other religions that we have, they take place basically in the realm of like gods, in like a dream.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, I would say that like a lot of the stories, a lot of the post-Torah, or a lot of the stories in the Torah itself, in the 5 books of Moses, those are at best hyperbole, I would say. But
Well, like
I still
okay,
like
yeah.
look, I need to know why I should believe that Jesus rose from the dead. It seems irrelevant what the ancient Hebrews were saying.
Well, honestly, I mean, I actually have as much respect for the Torah as I do for the New Testament. I mean, not in a sense, because I know that like Christ is the center, but you really can understand fully. I don't think Christ is a figure without probably even learning, not just looking at the Old Testament, but at least from my perspective, learning about what the Greeks thought, because the New Testament was written by.
But
Greeks
what does
and
this have to do with
so
the
no
actual
one there-
historicity of the resurrection?
I mean, to be honest, like that's not something that I'm gonna be able to like. That's not something that I can really wrap my head around.
So why believe it?
Why believe it? I mean, I guess it's just because it makes sense. I guess I don't know. It,
Of
like, and I guess
all
I'm
the
trying to
things
make
that have
sense.
ever happened in the universe, a man rising from the dead seems like it's the thing that makes the least sense. Not the least.
I
There are
know, I
obviously
know.
things that are less sensible, but like that's like a thing that like doesn't make sense. So why would you say it does make sense?
Man, it's a hard question, and honestly, this is not kind of like, because that's something that I wanted to focus more on just God in particular, and not whether like
We can talk about God in
was in
particular if you
flesh.
want, but then I'm going to ask you this similar types of questions. Like you can
That's all right.
like
That's all right.
we can use as much like flowery and symbolic language, but like do you believe that there is a mind that is responsible for the origins of the universe?
Oh yeah, and I think that like it was the structure of the universe was revealed at that moment. Like I think the universe is a story. It's like a symphony. It's like a song, and like me as a character, Christ is the main character, and it gives a place for me to put
But
myself in a way.
and
It's
that's
this whole
fine,
thing in this
but
bigger system.
what leads you to conclude that there is a mind that's responsible for physical reality?
It's just basically using Occam's razor and thinking that I am the universe. I don't think that there's like a separate mind matter distinction.
Well, I mean, sure, but like, so you agree that it seems like under your view, there is no distinction between mind and matter. And yet you're saying that the physical universe, stars and stuff, is kind of subordinate to mind. So it seems like, under your view, they actually should arise together. One should not be subordinate to another.
As far as I know, that's the way it works. I mean, that's as far as I could know. So like,
So
I
then in
think
what
that,
sense is the mind responsible for creating the universe?
I mean, the mind. So like, I mean, I can only say as far as like the way my body works. Like, my mind moves matter. You know what I mean? Why? Mind
Right, but your
is
mind
matter.
isn't
Mind is
responsible for
identity.
creating your body, right?
Um,
Arguably, your body is responsible for creating your mind.
my body's responsible for creating my mind. I don't
Yeah.
think you can look at it that simply, because I know that like,
Well, surely your
like
mind didn't create your body, right?
like the processes of thinking are all like the same processes that my body used to organize itself. You know what I mean? Those are both the same process.
Right. But we know the mechanism that created your body, and it wasn't your mind. Maybe it was your parents'
So like
minds
my
or something.
cells actually did problem solve to create me. You know what I mean?
Problem solving and having a mind, I don't think are the same thing. And I wouldn't call it problem solving. I would say like cells have certain mechanisms. They operate in a certain way.
Yeah,
in a
so
way
I
that
don't
they've been
think-
doing it for I guess for humans for millions of years. But like that's to say that's a mind, I think, is just to stretch the definition.
I mean, so I mean, we don't have to get into all this. I don't think necessarily, but like for me, I don't like think that when people say like, oh, that has a mind, that necessarily adds to your description of what the thing is doing. I just kind of just say that like a mind is just what a thing is, it, it what it's doing basically. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
So would you say
think
that
you're
like
adding anything to
ChatGPT is
say.
doing the same thing? So if ChatGPT is capable of like engaging in a conversation, would you say that ChatGPT is doing the same thing that you're doing when you're having a conversation?
I don't see how it could be, because I
But it's doing the same thing, right?
I know, but when I say the word like understand or something like that, that refers to me grabbing things. It refers to me being in physical space, and I don't think
Understand? Wait, understand doesn't have anything to do with physical space.
So actually, this is actually interesting. So I learned this from neuroscientists that all the language you use is metaphorical. All language is metaphorical, and it's all in relationship to the body. So when I say
you say you learned this from neuroscientists, or what was one of those neuroscientists, Peterson?
I don't think I learned this from him.
This sounds like a Petersonism.
I've never heard him say this, and it would be such an easy thing for him to say because everyone always talks about, was you being metaphorical or not? And I never heard him use that example. And for me, like I always actually hate when people ask, is that a metaphor or not? And it's like, all language is metaphorical. It's like, do you understand like the pattern I'm conveying? That's what's actually like important.
So understanding, I mean, like as the word is typically understood, understanding doesn't really have anything to do with anything physical. You could say that maybe it has its origins there, but that's an etymological fallacy, right?
No, it means that you're standing under something and that you can see like a 360 view. I mean, do you
No,
grasp
but
what I'm
that's an
saying?
etymological
Or,
fallacy, right? That's not literally what it means.
so, I mean, what does the word corrupted mean? It means like a thing is like it's falling apart, it's cracked. Like all these things are about physical
Well, no,
things in your body.
but that's not what the word means. The word means, at least, I mean, like you can use the word to apply to physical things, in which case it does take that meaning. But you can also use that word to apply to people, in which case it does not take on that meaning.
So if language isn't grounded in the body, what could it possibly be grounded in?
So the origins of language may very well have been grounded in the body. That doesn't say anything about what the words mean today.
I don't see how it couldn't. It's this grounding. Like what word? I mean, like that's like the idea of existing and being. Like that's one of the reasons why actually.
I mean,
like,
wait, so like
with my chair.
like we can go look
I
at the
like that
we
shit.
can go look up like the etymology of like spear, and what you'll find is that it has something to do with like a fish. That doesn't mean that a spear is a fish.
No, like what a spear really is, it's like a stabbing motion. Spear is stabbing motion.
No, a spear is a particular type of object.
I know, but okay, so like a particular type of object is I could use a stick. I could
Oh no,
use
no,
a
sorry,
glass
sorry.
bowl,
Sorry, the
could
word I
use,
was looking
like,
for was gore, not
a
spear.
spear is something that you stab with. That's all objects, all the definitions of objects, the definitions ground in behavior. So like a chair is like a stump of wood, a chair. Can you sit in it? Then it's a chair. Like that's the way all definitions of word works.
But
they're all teleological, and that's the reason
no,
what's the
no,
problem.
but
about
you're looking at
defining
origins.
words.
Origins are not related to modern usage, right?
No, this isn't about origins. I mean, like what other word? You talk about like a lamp. Like is a stick with a flame on top? Is that a lamp? Yeah, it is.
Okay, what about the
You
word
know,
think?
that's a bank. Yeah, it was
No,
it's
think. Think.
Think.
Yeah.
Is the computer thinking?
That's the question, isn't it?
I could make a computer.
What's the
out of steam
physical
pipes
what is the
going up
physical
the
connection?
moon.
What is the physical connection that the word think comes from?
For me thinking, what?
That's a physical thing?
I didn't say it was a physical thing. I said all things in relationship with the body, and yeah, thinking is a physical thing. It's physiological for sure.
Okay, so then why can't the computer do it?
It burns calories. I didn't say computer can't think. I don't know if computers are thinking or not.
So then why couldn't a computer understand?
Why can't a computer understand?
Mhm.
Look, like, hey, man, honestly, like, so I don't know if computers are conscious. Like, this is I feel like kind of a separate question. You know what I mean? Or computers are conscious in the way that like we experience consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I know that as far as Roger Penrose has some interesting thoughts about consciousness being non-computational,
Mhm.
but that's not the argument that I'm making right now. I'm just saying that like words, like if you ask Grok, hey, what's it like to do something, and it'll explain what it's like to do something. It can't actually know that because it doesn't have a body. That's the point I was making. And I was making.
Are you saying that so hold on, so are you saying that somebody
grounding of language?
Are you saying that somebody born
grounded in
without
the
legs
body?
couldn't explain to you what it's like to walk?
No, I think they could actually, because I mean, depending on how much legs they have, they probably have nubs, or they probably use their.
Let's say that they're pelvis only.
I mean, they probably use their arms as legs, and they probably get it. And honestly, the areas that take over in my
Getting
brain that control my legs,
you're getting a semantic out to the point of my question.
What's the point of your question? Sorry, I don't know where we are.
Could somebody who can't walk explain what it means to walk?
Yeah.
But Grok can't explain what it means to do something?
Well, Grok doesn't have a body. That's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's more like saying, can a blind person a better example would be, can a blind person explain what it is to see? That's a little more like the Grok problem. You know what I mean? Versus, you know, people, if I move around, I can think about what it's like to walk better, you know, but like that's actual a substantial. But even so, you know, like a person who's blind, it's like they build up a visual model of what the world looks like through what they're touching. You know what I mean? So even that's not the same. I don't know what the AI is going
we started
through.
here. We started here because you said something like, you don't think that a mind is really a distinct thing from the thing that some entity is doing, right?
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense.
But under that notion,
You saying this thing has a mind and this thing doesn't. I don't think that claim, because
you don't think it adds anything?
What does the mind do? What does the mind do?
I mean, I generally think of it as like processing and having experience.
So like the best definition I could think of is something like saying like agency or something like that. And
Yeah,
I could say
that
like,
that could play a role.
the more mind you have, I would probably say something like the more like paths you have to accomplishing a goal or something like that. So rocks would be like 0 because they can just go. Their goal would be to maintain homeostasis. So you drop it, goes towards the ground, it has one pathway. It's like 0. It's flat.
I think that it also requires having will, right?
So yeah, I just think that I think that all matter is willing. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is people like look at your body.
What does that
"Well, I
mean?
don't see any will there." Well, just in the same way I look around, I don't see any mind in your cells. I don't think you see any will.
Well, I'm not asking how you see it, because I don't think you can see will. But like, what does it mean for something to have will?
Just that it's. I mean, for one to be that it was supposed to happen, or
well, I don't think that will has anything to do with supposed to. It has to do with desires.
Yeah.
And you think that like rocks have desires?
I don't know, but I think I could say as like a system. I think I would say that the universe has desire. Yeah, as a system.
That seems. Why on earth would you believe that?
I mean, you could say that like that maintaining homeostasis that's a desire.
How do you know it's not just a thing that happens?
I mean, cool. I'm just using like Occam's razor. I honestly, so like, this will be useful to understand like the way I think. Like, I think that anxiety and entropy are the same thing, basically. Like, I think that.
Wait, no, but that's either a misunderstanding of anxiety, a misunderstanding of entropy, or both.
Well, no, not necessarily, because entropy is not an objective concept. Entropy is about
entropy is a quantified value.
Exactly. And so
I mean, yeah, it is. In some sense, it is objective. There's a formula for it.
Something's entropy is always in relationship to.
No, it's
a set point.
Entropy is a count for how many different possible ways a thing could be arranged to represent the same macroscopic state.
I understand what entropy is. I don't want to get into.
So then, what do you mean by entropy, if not like the standard scientific notion?
I mean that, like, so if I'm measuring. Okay, this is an example I heard Brian Greene used recently. Actually, it's very easy. So, like, if you have the books on a bookcase, and I have them ordered alphabetically, that's ordered. You could say that's low entropy. Ultimately, I know saying that low entropy is subjective, but that's low entropy. Now, if by means of just over time, all the books get reorganized, they're all random, that's a high entropy state. Now, the problem with that argument is that the alphabetization or whatever, that's a human construct. And
that's why it's an analogy, right?
No, that's true about anything that you're doing with entropy.
No, so when we actually talk about entropy of like fundamental systems, the entropy of the fundamental system is because there are genuinely physically indistinguishable parts of the system that yet can still be in different configurations, essentially. And so when we talk about the entropy of a gas, it's because you can't tell the difference between two different microstates, for example. Like, you genuinely can't tell the difference. It's not just like some human construct thing. Like, it's a physical constraint.
Gotcha. So you're saying that I'm wrong when I'm saying that, like, for instance, if I'm measuring how much like the air molecules change from the state they're in now, and I'm measuring how much that they change, there's not something arbitrary about that, because my understanding is that this is actually like that's almost similar, a similar way, kind of a similar problem to the problem of taxonomy in biology. That's just kind of like, at a certain point subjectivity enters the analysis.
No, I don't think it's really that similar. Yeah, I mean, like, look, so the standard formula for entropy for any system is the natural logarithm of the number of microstates, right? And you could choose some other set of units, right? So that it's not natural log. You could use informational entropy, but these are all equivalent up to a constant factor.
Okay.
And I just don't see what's subjective about that. It's just a number.
No, I
It's
guess
not in relation to something.
I guess I don't see how entropy isn't in relationship to an initial state, and the initial state just being whatever.
The entropy just depends on what it is right now. It's just how many microstates correspond to its macrostate that it's in. It's in a macrostate. How many microstates are there?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the macro state. Yeah. Exactly. The macro state is the arbitrary.
But it's not arbitrary. Like this is like a physical distinction, right? Like we're talking about, like, for example, if you're talking about a gas, you might talk about pressure or volume. These are not arbitrary. These are just properties of the thing.
I can't tell if we're disagreeing. I don't think it's exactly that.
I don't know either. But John, I should let you go because you've been on for a while, and I have like
That's
9
right.
guests. Is that fair?
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, whatever. All right.
All
Have a
right.
good day, man.
All right. Take care, John.
Bye.
John's a regular, and he's a delightful human being. He is a Petersonian or a Petersonite, which makes me, a little bit more skeptical. But I like talking to John. He's pleasant guy to talk to. I should read some super chats. So we have GM or GMNCNR with sending 1 gift membership. Thank you. That's cool. I don't know how that works, but thank you. And from Deacon Shadow with the 7 Canuck bucks. Is it fair to say apologists routinely conflate random with chaos? Yes. From Matt Fury with the 2 Australian dollary dues. What created the Big Bang? I think something physical caused it. From Raymond with the 159,000 Indonesian rupiahs, which is about $10. Thank you. Because it's more convenient believing in God / any deity. Convenient when going through those hard times and or no one is by your side. I believe it's the best remedy for anxiety and depression. It can be, but it can also cause a significant amount of anxiety and depression. For example, fear of hell causes a significant amount of anxiety amongst Catholics. And then from Eat Some Shorts at the $2, open your entropy. I will not, but thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your support. All right, let's bring on another guest. Let's bring on Donald Rathburn. Donald, how's it going?
Hey, excuse me. Good. I really appreciate your channel. I stumbled across it, and it's fascinating. I'm coming out of a... Well, maybe you should ask the questions.
Well, yeah. Do you believe in God?
I think I used to.
Well, if you don't anymore, then how can you convince me to believe in your God if you don't believe in one?
Yeah, I know, right? I thought about that already. Yeah, in the last 2.5 months, I've had a very wild ride, and I've come to the point where I'm not sure.
Hey, well,
I know.
Look, Donald, good luck on your journey, but I am looking for debates. Yeah. So thanks for being here. But yeah, good luck. Feel free to stick around. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll hear something interesting. All right, let's talk to Fortuna Magnetismo. What a great name. Fortuna, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Not a whole lot. Do you believe in God?
Quickly, well, I was raised Catholic, up to like 11, 12.
That's great, but do you believe in God now?
I believe what I'm seeing now is it's tough, no? Because let's say for you, do you think it all foundationally is just physics?
So
or do you
asking me a question doesn't tell me what you believe. You can be agnostic if you want. That's fine. You can be not sure. You can be on the fence.
Oh, yes. Then I would say I am agnostic.
Okay.
But to be honest...
I gotta let you go then. Look, I'm looking for people who believe in God. Because how can you convince me if you can't convince yourself? Oh, hey, look. If it isn't Angel Investor. Angel Investor, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. Sorry, one sec, Angel. I got $5 from Grimlock telling me to hydrate, so I'm going to hydrate really quick. Right, Angel, what are we doing today? Are we strawmanning each other again?
Oh, yeah, what I heard you say earlier.
We are strawmanning each other, great. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I heard you say earlier that the universe didn't have a beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm reading here. I just did a quick search online, and it says the universe began with a vast explosion that generated space and time and created all matter and energy in the universe.
Sure.
Exactly what triggered this sudden expansion remains a mystery. Astronomers believe it's involved in a runaway process called inflation, which a peculiar type of energy that existed in the vacuum of space was suddenly mobilized. And this energy was then transformed to a familiar form of matter and energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the universe did have a beginning.
I don't think it did. At least I'm not sure.
According to inflation, it was this inflationary energy.
So have you heard of eternal?
Have
you heard of eternal inflation?
Yeah, I heard of eternal.
Okay,
but
eternal inflation doesn't have a beginning to the universe as a whole.
But you have to explain this inflationary energy that the energy
under
that
eternal
the universe
inflation,
itself,
it's always existed.
But the universe as it exists now in the current matter,
the universe
and
as it
energy,
exists now definitely started to exist in
couldn't
this way
always
13.8
exist.
billion years ago.
But it couldn't have Blitz. Because
I just agreed with you, my guy. I said that the universe as it is now, our observable
Okay, you
universe
agree
began.
with me. Okay, that's all I wanted
Please
to
don't
hear.
cut me off. Please don't cut me off. The observable universe as it exists now certainly started existing this way about 13.8 billion years ago. Who knows what it was like before that? But that doesn't mean that the universe as a whole, not just the observable universe, not just the observable universe in this way, doesn't mean that the universe as a whole began 13.8 billion years ago.
But it means the universe as we know it came
The
into
observable
existence.
universe existing in this kind of way.
Will you agree with that? Will you agree with that? That the universe as we know it came into existence 13.8 billion years ago. And whatever caused it before that, whether it was inflationary energy or something else, that's something other than the matter and energy of the universe.
Well, no, I mean, inflation would be a source of energy, if you will. And it's the same kind of energy. It's just energy in a different medium.
It'll be inflationary energy.
Look, so it is at least in principle possible that you could go back 14 billion years and the universe would look basically the same, just perhaps in a different state. Maybe like you'd have the same laws of physics, just behaving differently. There's no contradiction there. There's no contradiction.
I don't see how that's.
What's the contradiction?
Possible. I'm gonna tell you what the contradiction. One, there's no evidence of it.
Sorry, that's not a contradiction. What's the contradiction?
The contradiction is one. There's no evidence of
What's the saying there's no evidence for something is not a contradiction.
It is because you asked me to explain something that doesn't exist.
No, I'm asking. You said that that's impossible. I'm asking you what the contradiction is. Impossible means impossible means that there's a contradiction there. That there's some inconsistency that makes it impossible. So what's the inconsistency? Yeah, please.
Let me explain to you why it's impossible, Blitz.
Please.
I'm gonna explain to you. Give me a second. I'm gonna explain to you why it's impossible. It's impossible because it's exactly the reason scientists are looking for a theory of quantum gravity, because general relativity predicts like a singularity smaller than any sort of subatomic particle, but this small particle, whatever it is, singularity, it has this immense gravity. So both general relativity and quantum mechanics doesn't work with this small object that has all this gravity. So many people in science today are looking for a theory of quantum gravity in order to explain the beginning of the universe.
So to be clear,
these laws of physics can't exist prior to this singularity.
Angel, to be clear, I literally wrote a paper like 2 weeks ago describing how with just semi-classical gravity, meaning with classical general relativity and standard quantum field theory, with just semi-classical gravity, you can get around the issues of a singularity. I literally just wrote a paper on this, the issue of a Big Bang singularity. In fact, in this case, the universe becomes cyclic.
But again, that doesn't explain how everything breaks down at this singularity.
So there is no singularity. There is no singularity according to this model.
Where's the evidence?
I wrote a paper about it like 2 weeks ago.
Does your thing, whatever you wrote, there's always speculation out there in some paper.
So I took general relativity and standard quantum field theory, and I put them together in a novel way, and came to the conclusion that you actually can get around a singularity. You can actually have
most
an
scientists
expansion.
say you can't.
I let you talk. And so the conclusion that I came to is that, yeah, you can absolutely have like a cyclic model with that has, you know, big bounce, big crunch, that whole deal cyclically, you know, in a sort of
But
eternal
a
sort of
cyclic
way,
model of a
that
big
in a way that
crunch.
completely
Hold
respects
up.
general
But a
relativity and
cyclic,
quantum field
hold up.
theory.
There's two things. One is most scientists disagree with you. Most
That's fine.
scientists are
That
looking
doesn't
for
make
a
it
theory of
impossible.
quantum
And in
gravity.
fact, it's consistent with
Most
both general
scientists,
relativity
and it's
and
not
quantum field theory.
consistent. It's not consistent
I
because
literally wrote a paper on
a
it.
theory
I
of
did
a
the
big
mathematics
bounce.
myself.
Hold up, a theory of a big bounce is just speculative. Even Roger
That doesn't
Penrose,
wait.
who
Or
supports
do you not understand what consistent means?
a big
Do you
bounce,
not
says it's
understand what
any
consistent
evidence.
means?
Hold up, I'm gonna tell you why. Because even
Wait, hold on,
even
Angel. Do you
Roger,
not
hold up.
understand what consistent means?
What? But it doesn't mean there's no evidence for it. Even Roger Penrose says there's no evidence for it without
Angel,
a theory of quantum gravity.
that wasn't the claim. The claim is that
Hold
general
up.
relativity and quantum mechanics requires they both break down. You can't have an expanding universe because of general relativity.
Yes.
And that's just not
Exactly.
true. It's not true. I proved it in my paper.
No, all of science is looking
Yep,
for
I proved it. Yeah, I proved it. Now,
Have your
now
paper been published, Blitz?
it's
Has it been published?
it's currently under peer review.
It's not been published. You
It will be in a few weeks.
giving me flap trap. You giving
I mean,
me
it will be in a
nonsense.
few weeks. It's available on the preprint server.
It hasn't been. What's the
I've
name
passed
of
it
the
around.
paper?
I'm not going to tell
What's
you
the
what
name of the
docs mean.
paper? See, you're not going. If it's such a good paper, you just giving me a magic show, Blitz.
Oh, I'm explaining
You
to you the
giving me
idea.
nonsense.
I'm explaining to you
You're
the
giving
idea.
me pure. It has nothing.
I don't even,
what you're saying has
I don't
nothing
even think
to
that
do
you'd be
with
equipped to
science.
read it anyway. So
It has nothing to do with science. If it
sure it
did,
does.
you would be
It
proud
takes
of it.
general relativity and
would
quantum
be
field
proud.
theory and combines them in a novel way and shows that
Who ever heard of a scientist not proud of their work?
I am quite proud of it.
Would be if you had this groundbreaking discovery, you would be screaming it from the rooftops.
I'm telling you about it right now.
No, nobody gonna believe that nonsense, Blitz.
We'll see. We'll see what the peer reviewer says.
Look, Blitz. It's like you. What you do is you get on here and you talk about certain things in certain ways, but in actuality, you admit other things, which is disingenuous. You say materialism is false. You said in your own video,
Yeah, I'm a
that you
physicalist,
don't
not a
know what's
materialist.
really real.
So
You
that's
said you don't know
cool,
what's
but
really
that's a
real
cool
in your
deflection.
own
But
video.
Angel, that's a cool deflection. You made the claim that general relativity
How can you
necessarily
know?
predicts. Angel, you made
Yes.
the claim that general relativity necessarily predicts a singularity. I wrote a paper
Yes,
that
it
says
does.
it doesn't, especially if you use semi-classical gravity.
Yes, I'm not going to take a non-peer-reviewed study.
Okay,
to
it'll be
refute
so.
all of
Okay, so
science.
in about a month,
I'm not
or
gonna.
in
I'm not
about
gonna
a month or
listen to
two.
you.
In about a
Listen,
month,
Blitz.
so Angel, in about a month or two, when it gets accepted into one of the top journals, because it will be, will you become an atheist?
Blitz.
When it gets
Nobody
peer
would
reviewed, will
even
you
know
accept
what
the
it
argument
is.
then?
You won't even tell us the name of it.
When it gets peer
would
reviewed,
anybody
when
know
it
what's
gets
out
peer
there?
reviewed, will you accept the argument then?
But if it's peer reviewed, how would we know? How would we be able to read it?
When it's peer reviewed, will you
You
accept
won't
the
even
argument
tell
then?
us the name of it.
When it's peer reviewed, will you accept the argument then? It's a simple question.
Blitz, you won't tell us the name of it. It is no argument. I don't believe it is one.
Well, no, I mean, look,
Because you can't
so
even tell me the name
I'm
of the
telling
paper.
you. So I'm asking.
Why should I believe in this phantom paper?
Angel, please, chill. I'm saying, look, if it's true that I wrote this paper, and if it's true that it does get peer reviewed and accepted into a good journal, will you then accept that it is possible to have general relativity and quantum mechanics without a singularity?
No, I will not accept it.
So then it's
unless there's
irrelevant
some
whether it's peer reviewed,
No.
my guy.
No,
You're just
listen,
using that as a shield when you're just
it'll have to have
rejecting it
some
on principle because you
Blitz.
don't like the implications.
Blitz. It'll have to have some observable evidence to refute all of the evidence out there.
That wasn't
right
the
now.
claim that you made. You said that
You
general
will have to
relativity is
present-
incompatible with
Listen.
not having a singularity.
Blitz,
And I gave
Blitz.
you an example
It's
where you
not-
can
there's
see
a lot of things.
that there is a
The
compatibility
holographic-
of not
listen.
having a singularity.
There's a lot of science that's consistent with things. A lot of theories out there.
So then
Without
you should
evidence
change your
to prove
statement.
those
Don't say that
theories-
general relativity says you can't
Hold on,
have.
without evidence, yes, general
You
relativity.
can't. It doesn't say that though. General relativity is a
Does-
mathematical
does
theory, and
your
you can
paper-
prove
does your
using
paper
general
come up
relativity
with-
that
hold
it
on.
doesn't necessarily lead to a singularity.
Blitz, does your paper come up with a theory of quantum gravity?
No, it doesn't require it. That's why it's so nice.
What? It doesn't require.
Nope,
How
it
you
doesn't
getting
require it.
around the theory of quantum gravity?
You don't need it. You don't need it if the universe doesn't
Hold
get
up, how
infinitesimally
you,
small.
Hold up. You do need it.
No, you don't.
Because how is quantum mechanics going to govern the singularity when
There isn't a
when
singularity.
you don't have a
That's the
theory
whole.
of
That's the
quantum
whole nice
gravity?
part about the model. There isn't a
Hold up.
singularity.
But hold up, it has to be a theory where quantum mechanics
It uses
evolve
quantum
with
mechanics.
gravity.
It uses quantum field theory
Are you telling
and
me there's
classical
no
GR.
Hold
It's
up.
called semi-classical gravity.
Is your theory saying there's no gravity?
No, there's gravity. It uses
Well,
classical
then
GR.
it involves quantum mechanics.
Yeah,
What
it
are you
involves both.
saying,
It
Blitz?
involves both.
So
It
it
involves
needs a theory of
quantum field
quantum
theory.
gravity.
No, it doesn't. It's called semi-classical gravity. It's a well-studied
Blitz!
thing.
Was there subatomic particle? Is there quantum mechanics involved in your theory at all?
Yeah, there's quantum field theory, actually. It's not enough to use just standard quantum mechanics.
Blitz, where you... This is why it won't get peer reviewed. It won't make it through.
Oh, I can
because
assure you
you're
it
talking
will.
about quantum
I
mechanics.
mean, I've passed it around
quantum
to
gravity.
I've passed it around to colleagues, and they all thought it was very interesting. And
That's
novel.
why it's going to get laughed out.
No, I mean, I've
It's
passed
going
it
to
around
get
to
laughed away.
like senior colleagues, and they all thought that it was quite clever, quite novel, quite nice, very interesting implications.
This phantom paper. Listen, Blitz, let me ask you a question. Go ahead. One more topic. Let me ask you a question. You say that materialism is false.
Yeah, because I'm a physicalist.
And you say you don't know, in your quantum ontology video, you say you don't know what's really real.
I don't know what's foundational, sure.
If you don't know what's really real...
I don't know if it's fields that are real. I don't know if it's particles that are real. I don't know if it's a wave function that's real. I don't know which one. I don't know which of those things are real.
You try to get on here with certainty and say God isn't real.
I know that like unicorns in my backyard aren't real.
But you know what's
you cannot know what is the real thing without.
How do you know what's truth?
You cannot know what is the real thing while also knowing what isn't real.
How you know what's real if you don't know what truth is?
Who said I don't know what truth is?
If you don't know what really real.
What does that have to do with anything?
Real? And you don't know, you claim materialism is false?
Yeah, I'm a physicalist, not a materialist.
If you're a physicalist...
Do you know this? Blitz, do you know the distinction?
What is solid?
Do you know the distinction between materialism and physicalism? Or are you just like... Because at this point, Angel, at this point, you've been doing... Blitz says materialism is false. Do you know what the distinction is?
Blitz,
tell me, Angel, you have one chance. Tell me, what is the distinction between physicalism and materialism?
A physicalist believes there's something that extends, that there's something solid that extends in space, that exists in space. A materialist, which is also false, says everything is reduced to matter, something called matter, which has been, even Sean Carroll was saying the other day in a video.
So your description of physicalism isn't correct.
Define physicalism, Blitz.
The belief that those things that exist are those things that are physical, i.e. describable by physical laws.
By physical law. And physicalism is what?
Physicalism is. Physicalism is a type of ontology.
It's not science.
Yeah.
It's a philosophy.
Yeah.
It's not science. And there's nothing physical.
It's a metaphysical worldview. Yeah.
How can you prove that subatomic particles are physical? Even Werner Heisenberg said
they're describable by physical laws. That's what it means.
But they're not physical. They're not real in the physical sense.
That's what physical means. That's why I'm a physicalist.
But you just moving the goalpost.
Physicalist means describable by physical laws.
You're just moving the goalpost. How can something be physical that's not solid? There's nothing solid in the universe.
Who says anything? Physical and solid aren't the same thing.
Is there anything solid in the universe, Blitz? Is there
sure, there are plenty of solids. Yeah. We would say that like a metal crystal is solid.
Hold it.
Yeah.
I'm reading an article right now that says physics. Do you agree with it? It says physics says can never tell you that you actually never touch anything and nothing is solid. Do you agree with that?
That's nonsense, obviously.
Well, how are you actually touching something, Blitz? And it's not.
Yeah, what it means to touch something is to have your electrons bump up against its electrons.
How can something be hard and solid if you can never touch it?
Is this like? Are you actually confused about this?
No.
So then, why are you asking the question if you're not confused by it?
I'm asking the question because you're all over the place.
A
Blitz.
solid.
You don't know what's really real.
A solid is
I'm
a
trying to tell you what's really real.
Angel.
You-
A solid.
did you claim-
Angel. I can talk louder than you. I can mute you. Right.
Okay.
A solid is a type of. It's a phase of matter where the matter has rigid properties. It has a rigid shape and has a fixed volume. That's what a solid is.
Okay.
That's what the word solid means. If it takes on those properties. That's what
Is
solid
the-
means. If you're using some other definition of solid, then it's not really relevant to me. I just don't care.
You're not touching anything that's solid. Blitz.
When I say I'm touching something, what that means is that my electrons in my finger are overlapping or bumping into the electrons in the thing I'm touching. And yes, that does happen.
How is your electrons touching the electrons from the table?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
With the Pauli,
Well, they're
how can they touch
overlapping.
it based on the Pauli exclusion?
They're
principle?
overlapping. Their wave functions overlap.
No, there's not. They still not touching. Listen, I'm gonna read from the article. These are from
No, their wave
physicists.
functions definitely overlap.
Let
Yeah.
me read from the article.
You're about to get smoked on this because of course their wave functions overlap. But go ahead and read from your article. Read from your AI overview.
Okay, let me read. The
Go
same
ahead.
is true for all mankind. When you plop down in a chair or slink into your bed, the electrons within your body are repelling the electrons that make it a chair. You are hovering above it at a small distance.
Oh,
If
no, that's
electron
false.
repulsion prevents us from truly touching anything.
Oh, no,
why
that's
do we
false.
see-
That's strictly
Let
false.
me finish.
Go
Blitz,
ahead. But I mean, I
finish?
already
Then you
disagree
can
with it.
comment.
It's strictly false.
Can I finish?
Sure.
And then you can comment. I thought we could have a discussion.
Sure. As promise you
Listen.
won't interrupt me.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, good.
Why do you perceive touch as a real thing? The answer returns to how your brains interpret the physical world. In this case, a number of factors work. The nerve cells send a signals to your brain that we're physically touching something. When you actually never touch anything, it's a repulsion from the electrons in the table and the electron to your hand that overlap, and you never actually
Wait,
touch
hold on. What was
anything.
that you just
The
said? The
only
overlap?
reason-
Did you say the
let me
overlap?
say this last part, and I'll be done.
Okay, go ahead.
The only reason why your hand doesn't push right through the table is not because it's hard or solid. It's because the electrons from the table push against electrons from your hand, and your brain is interpreting that as a solid table or a hard force.
Okay, great.
True
Now,
or false,
question:
Blitz?
Did you false? Unless this question I'm about to ask is true, did you say the word overlap? Did you skip over that? I think it was like 1 or 2 sentences ago.
Let me read.
Do a control F.
Yeah, it says if electron repulsion prevents us from ever truly touching anything.
What
It's
about the
just we
overlap part?
perceive it. We
Sorry, there was
perceive
a
an overlap, and it's a repulsion from that perception.
wait.
it's
So
a
we perceive?
perception
Are you
of
saying?
reality.
So we perceive an overlap? What does that mean? Is there an
We
overlap or is there not an
perceive that
overlap?
something is touching, but it's not touching. That's
Wait,
what
sorry.
It's
So
saying.
is there an overlap or is there not?
No,
Because
listen,
okay. Well,
let me read.
if
let
that
me read
article,
the exact part since you asked.
hold on. So
It says-
yeah, go ahead. Read it word for word.
Our body sends signals to our brain that tell us we are physically touching something. When the sensation of touch is given to us by the electrons interaction, we are never actually touching anything. You would never act.
Wait, where's the
because of
overlap part? Why'd
and
you
it
skip
said-
the
and
overlap part?
It goes on to talk about.
Wait,
the
why
Pauli
did you skip the
exclusion.
overlap
What's
part?
the Pauli exclusion principle?
Why did you skip the overlap part?
What's the Pauli exclusion?
Answer the
principle,
question,
Blitz?
Angel. Don't be dishonest. Why'd you skip the overlap part?
I didn't skip it. I just
So,
said it.
no, you didn't say the word overlap. Read it again.
Listen.
Actually, tell me the article name. Why don't you tell me the article that you're reading? Tell me the article name. I'll find it.
Their wave packets, on the other hand, can
So,
overlap.
Angel, tell me the article name. I'll pull it up myself.
Let me read it. Their
Okay,
wave
yeah.
packets
Tell me
on
the article name. I'll read it.
It says why you can never actually touch anything. It says
What's the website?
Can I finish reading?
Is it from futurism.com?
Yes.
Okay.
It says,
Then I can just pull it up myself. Here.
Listen, it says their wave packets, on the other hand, can overlap but never touch.
Overlap. Yeah, that's what it means
But
for them to
never
touch.
touch.
There you go. That's
They
what I
can
mean when I
never
say touch. What does it mean for them to touch except overlap? What does that mean? What does it mean?
Overlap, but they never touch.
That's
You
what.
never touch
What does it mean for them to touch
any
if they're
electrons
overlapping?
from the table.
What does it mean? What does it mean for them to overlap if they're not touching? What does that mean?
It means that listen, the wave
They
packets
are
overlap.
they are the wave packets. The wave packets
The
are the
wave
electrons,
packets
and if they're
overlap,
overlapping,
not
that
the
means that those
actual
wave packets are in the same
electrons.
place,
Listen,
at least partially.
the wave packets overlap, not the actual electrons. You never
The wave
touch
packets are the
any
electrons. The wave packets are the electrons.
But they never touch.
No, they
Blitz.
overlap. They overlap with each other. That's a type of
But
touching.
they never touch. You never touch anything solid.
So to be clear, so the electrons are the wave packets. The wave packets overlap
Blitz,
according to your own resource.
According
I'm sorry, I'm muting you. According to your own resource, the wave packets overlap. The electrons are the wave packets, and therefore they are partially touching. That's what it means to overlap.
No,
now they're not fully overlapped. They're not occupying the exact same space, but they are overlapping.
Blitz, say that again. Say that again. Say what you just said.
They're not occupying the same space, obviously.
That's the Pauli exclusion principle. That's why you didn't want to mention it. You saying
What?
exactly what?
No, but they do overlap. They just don't. They don't fully overlap, but they do overlap.
Blitz, you just
it's
admitted
irrelevant.
it. Blitz, is there anything hard or solid that you're touching?
Ian, I called you Ian because I was
Don't
thinking of
call
Ian.
me that, please.
Eon, sorry, I'll call you the proper name. So Angel, the point is you've just been blown out
you
because
listen to
your own
Eon
source says that they overlap.
No, it doesn't.
It literally says their wave packets on the other hand can overlap but never touch. That's
never
what do you think
touch.
overlapping is? What do you think overlapping is, my guy?
Listen.
Tell me, what would it mean for two wave packets to overlap? What does that mean?
It means that the electrons never come into direct contact.
What does direct contact mean for two wave? Because the electrons are the wave packets. What does it mean for them to? What does it mean for them to be in direct contact?
Blitz, it's exactly what you said. They never occupy the same space.
So when you say touch, you just mean they don't occupy the same place? Because I would never use that definition of touch.
You never, Blitz, you never touch anything hard or solid. How can you if they never...
I don't think that tracks. I think you absolutely do. And by touch, what I mean is that your electrons overlap with the electrons of the thing that you're touching.
Will you admit that, Blitz?
I just told you what I mean when I say touch.
That you're wrong yet again.
I don't think I've ever been wrong in a conversation with you. I think that all you know how to do is straw man.
Blitz, you're the one that says...
Yeah, you're straw manning my view about what it means for two things to touch.
You said materialism is false. That's your
right,
point.
because there are non-material particles. We would call these like photons, gluons, W and Z bosons, the Higgs boson. These are non-material because they're not matter. Blitz, they're not fermions.
I'm trying to take you along the yellow brick road. You say materialism doesn't exist.
Yeah, I'm a physicalist.
You don't know what. You say you don't know what's really real.
Yeah, I do know what's not real though. I know that unicorns aren't real in my backyard.
What's really real?
Oh yeah, well you're not doing a very good job.
I'm doing a great job. Listen,
okay, what's your evidence that something really, besides the physical is real?
What's beyond the physical? Truth is real beyond the physical.
Oh, is it? What's your evidence for that?
Gödel's theorem. Gödel tells us that Gödel's sentence G is true but unprovable with an S, and that Gödel's
theorem says that such things could exist. Doesn't say that they do exist.
Listen. That's why Gödel was a Platonist who believed in God and afterlife. He said there's things about all physical and formal systems. There's truth.
He didn't say anything about physical. He was talking about formal systems.
Yes,
Don't
he does.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I've read the theorem.
This is why Stephen Hawking gave a lecture, Gödel in the End of Physics. Even Stephen
Hawking was mistaken. It wasn't a great lecture.
No, he wasn't.
He was.
Any system described by mathematics is incomplete. There's truth about those systems that transcend those.
To be clear, it's not every system. It's only sufficiently complex systems.
You know things about reality that can't be known. For instance, P parentheses S equal 1. You know what that is, right?
P parentheses S equals 1? You haven't defined P or S.
It's an axiom of probability. I'm sure you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Where S is the set of all possible independent, mutually independent probabilities. Sure. That's an axiom. Sure. I can accept that as true.
But the reason why it's self-evidently true is because we can't prove it's true. Exactly.
Wait, hold on. If you can't prove something's true, that means it's true?
We could be certain it's true. We could say it's true.
Wait, can you prove the axiom of choice?
We can't prove any axioms.
Okay, so is the axiom of choice true?
We know it's true because
do you
transcends the system.
Do you? Okay, so
Yes.
do you agree that you can take
Truth,
one sphere? Do you agree that you can
Mhm.
take a sphere, cut it up into a finite number of pieces, and then reassemble them into two spheres of identical size?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you agree that you can do that?
Yes, there's things that are true, Blitz, that transcends any form
So,
or
did you hear what I just said? Can you repeat back to me what I just said, please?
Yeah, you talked about breaking down. Well, we're talking about truth. What are you talking about, Blitz?
Okay, so that's one time that you didn't
But
listen.
we're
That's cool.
talking about.
Do you want?
Why are you trying to
So
switch
you
and
said
change
that
the
the
subject?
axiom. You
Hold
said
up.
that the axiom of choice is true. You did say that, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so if the axiom of choice is true, then you agree that you can take a sphere, cut it up into a finite number of pieces, and then reassemble it back into two equally sized spheres. You agree?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you show me?
Everybody says the axiom of choice is true. Why?
Wait,
Why isn't it true?
can you show me that you can do that? That you can
Can you
cut
show me
up
the
a
axiom of
sphere?
truth is false?
Can you show me that you
can't-
can cut up a sphere into a finite number of pieces and reassemble it into two equally large spheres?
I can show you that the axiom of choice is true.
How do you show me that the
it's
axiom of choice? How do you show me that the axiom of choice is true?
Because it's axioms are self-evident truth.
Axioms are
that's the point.
self-evident.
But Blitz, that's the point. That just like you said,
Axioms
the
are
axiom of
self-evident. Well, what? So what about all of those things
Just
that
like
where?
you said,
So you know what else is
Blitz.
self-evident? It's self-evident that you can't cut up a sphere into finite number of pieces
Blitz.
and reassemble it into two spheres of identical
Blitz.
size. That seems self-evident to me.
But Blitz, you just said the axiom of choice, a probability is true, but you can't prove that it's true. So where does that truth?
Oh wait,
come
I didn't
from?
say the axiom of choice is true. I definitely didn't say
You
that.
said the axiom of probability was true.
I said I can accept it as true. That doesn't mean that it's like true out
Hold
there
up.
in the
You can-
universe.
how can you accept it as true?
It's a choice.
Where does that
I can
truth
just
come from
choose
if
it.
you
I can
can't-
just choose
hold
to
up,
believe it.
Hold on, Blitz. How can you accept it as true if there's no proof that it's true?
I don't have to have proof of something in order to accept something.
How to answer
Do you think
the
I was
question?
stuttering? I don't have to have
Yes,
proof
you
of something
were.
in order to accept something as true.
Blitz. Well, how is it if you can't prove that something is true? Because you always talking about prove God. Or
No, I
prove
talk
this
about
or prove
evidence.
that.
I never
Hold
use the
up.
word prove.
Answer the question. If you can't prove that the P parentheses S equal 1 is true, but you said it's most likely true, how do you know
I didn't say it's
true?
most likely true either. Do you have a hard time listening,
What did
or
you just say? I don't want to misquote
I said
you.
I
What
can
did you
accept
say?
it as true
Why can you accept it as true if there's
because
no
it's convenient.
proof, Blitz?
It's convenient.
If
Who
there's
said that
no
there's no
proof.
truth? Who said there's no truth? What?
No,
Truth is a
I said
property
if
of
there's
proof
no
is a.
proof.
Or,
I said if
I can
there's
I
no
can
proof
accept
that
things
it's
without
true.
proof. You can accept things without proof all the time.
So Blitz, you're saying there's truth that exists that transcends reality. That's exactly what Gödel
Didn't
was
say
saying.
that, but that's cool. Can you derive the? Can you
That's exactly what
deductively
listen,
derive how you
Blitz,
can
if I
conclude
say
that from
this,
my
listen.
claim?
If I say GU is true but unprovable within you, that's just saying that there's things about the universe that's true that's unprovable by the universe itself within the universe.
So
For
the universe
instance,
isn't a
you know
mathematical system.
you
So
know-
that's
hold
a cool attempt to like abuse Gödel's incompleteness
No,
theorem, but it's
no,
irrelevant.
not.
It is a complete red herring. Yeah.
You know truth that the universe doesn't know. Do you know it's true that
I don't
you
think
love
the
your
universe
mother?
knows anything.
Hold up. Do you know it's true that you love your mother? Do you know it's true that you love your spouse?
Yeah, that's a statement about my
well,
own.
the universe doesn't know it, so you know something
I don't think
that
the universe knows
doesn't
anything.
know.
I don't think the universe knows anything, Angel.
Hold up. You know something that so there's truth that exists that you know that exists in a mind that transcends the universe.
Well, no, it's in the universe, so I don't think it transcends the universe.
You can't prove it within the universe. Prove that you
What?
love your mother. Derive that from some physical
Well,
law.
I'm in the universe, and it's self-evident.
It-
I have
it's-
direct
it's a
access to that
self-evident
experience.
truth
Well, I have direct
without
access to
any
it.
proof.
I have
You
direct
just
access to
proved-
it.
You
The
just
proof is the experience that I have. Yeah.
You just supported the Bible, which says the word of God.
That's a cool
created
straw
all
man.
things.
That's a cool
You
straw
just
man.
supported the Bible. That
Neat straw man.
everything comes from a mind.
Oh,
that
I
knows
definitely didn't
truth.
say that, but that's a neat straw
That
man.
truth. Listen, Blitz. You just admitted to God. You just said there's
Neat
truth.
straw man. Okay, so
Hold up.
Angel, I'm gonna
Let
ask
me-
you
let
for a
me tell you
deductive. I'm gonna
why.
ask you for a deductive inference of how you go
Let-
from
let
my
me-
statements.
Let me tell you why,
Angel,
Blitz.
no. You're going, Angel. You're going to give me a deductive.
Why
you're
do
going
you
to give
keep
me a
interrupting me?
because you won't let me talk. You're going to give me a deductive argument going from my statement that it is true that I love my mother to God exists. You have, I'll give you 30 seconds to construct a deductive syllogism, if you will, demonstrating that those two things are equivalent. Go. Premise one.
Premise one.
Yeah.
Is that there, as Gödel showed, G, the Gödel sentence G is true but unprovable with S. There's truths that transcend any
is this P2?
I mean, you said you give me 30 seconds.
No, I know. I need you to tell me what the premises are. I'm writing them down.
The premise one is that there's truth that exists, that transcendent truth that exists outside of formal or physical systems. Proof number two, these truths come from a mind because the mind must know all truth propositions. In the final analogy, therefore, there must be a mind, a logos, that exists, that brought all things into existence, that knows all truth propositions, because truth propositions in the mind transcends all physical systems or formal systems. Truth must exist in all, is necessary.
All right, let's read this back. Let's read this back to you, okay?
In all possible worlds, truth must exist.
We're going to read this back to you, yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got to pull it up. Okay, here we go. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Here is the, oops. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so you said premise one, there exists transcendent truths that exist outside of formal physical systems. Then premise two, you said these truths come from a mind because a mind must know all truth propositions, whatever that means. Maybe you meant all true propositions or something. And then conclusion, there must be a logos that exists that brought all things into existence that knows all true propositions.
Yes.
So
let me explain to you what.
So hold on. So let's go over this. Let's go over this this argument here, this syllogism.
Because you don't know what truth propositions are.
So just a question. What is the what's the inference rule here to go from P1 and P2 to the conclusion?
Blitz. Let me explain to you what truth propositions are.
Can you just tell me what the inference rule is, please?
Blitz, why are you trying to? What do you disagree with?
I disagree that this is a valid syllogism.
Why?
Because I don't think that there is a inference rule that gets you from these premises to this conclusion. What's the form of the inference rule?
Yeah, there exists a
what's the is it modus ponens, modus tollens? What is it?
It's modus ponens.
Modus ponens? That's not an inference rule. Do you mean modus ponens?
Yes.
So modus ponens is A, and if A, then B, therefore B. So which part is the A?
That there exists a transcendent truth outside of formal physical systems.
Okay, so this is equal to A?
Yes.
Okay, and then at P2, in order to be modus ponens, it needs to be A implies B. So what's the B here?
That these truths come from a mind because the mind knows all truth propositions.
Sorry, so you have A. So our modus ponens should be something like, there exists this implies, actually I should use angle brackets. This proposition, in order for this to be modus ponens, it needs this implies, and then what's the B?
It implies that there's a mind that knows all truth propositions.
There is a mind that knows all truth propositions. Okay.
Do you know what truth propositions are, Blitz?
Presumably it's a statement about the truth of another proposition, right?
It's a statement. Yeah, it's a statement of truth. Like a truth proposition would be say, P parentheses S equal 1 is true. Or
that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so I'm just gonna formalize this argument.
It's true. Hold on.
So we have that.
If you saying you love your mother.
So these are your two premises, right?
You saying you love your mother, you love your spouse is a true.
Angel, we're not done analyzing your argument. So these are your two premises, right?
Yeah.
The first one is there exist transcendent truths that exist outside of formal physical systems. Premise two, that there exists transcendent truths that exist outside of formal physical systems implies there is a mind that knows all truth propositions. And so then what is the conclusion following modus ponens form?
I just told you that there must be a logos that exists and brought exists.
No, so if we're using modus ponens, the conclusion should be instead, there is a mind that knows all truth propositions.
Well, if you wanted to know all truth,
this is modus ponens as written. This is modus ponens, right? What you had before, not modus ponens at all, not deductive.
Yes,
it wasn't a valid argument.
It was the same thing, Blitz.
No, it's not. This doesn't say anything about a creator at all.
As Rasul said, you're trying to pivot.
Does this say anything about a creator?
You're just trying to pivot because
Sorry,
you
does
know
this say anything about a creator?
the reason. Yes, because that's
Oh,
what
where is the
listen,
word creator in this syllogism?
the reason why this it just matches the Bible perfectly because the Bible tells us that the logos or the
Where
mind
is
of
sorry,
God.
where is the
Hold
where
up,
is
can I finish? Can I tell you?
Yeah, sure, go
Can I
ahead.
talk for 10 seconds without you
Yeah,
interrupting?
sure. I just want you to tell me where the creator
because
is
the
in this
Bible
argument.
tells us, because Jesus said, I am truth itself. So Jesus tells us that a mind, he has to be a mind, a logos that knows all truth propositions in order
So
to
you're
bring
adding another
things into
proposition.
existence.
So you're adding
So
another
you-
proposition.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Because otherwise the word creator, it doesn't show up. The word creator, the word God doesn't show up anywhere in this argument.
The logos, what do you think logos is? The mind of God.
Oh, that's a
It's
proposition.
the mind and understanding of God. What are you talking about?
So we have
That's what
another
the logos
proposition
is.
now. So you have
Do you
another
know what
proposition that you can add, or another syllogism that you can add,
do
which
you
is
know
something
what the
like
logo-
if there is
do you know what the
a
logos
mind
is,
that
Blitz?
knows all truth propositions,
But do you
then
know what is the
a
logo?
creator exists, and then you would come to another conclusion,
Blitz,
C2,
Blitz,
a creator
no.
exists. So this would be
You
a
trying
valid
to-
logical
you
form, by the way.
strawmanning, Blitz.
No, this isn't a straw man. This
You're
is an exact
strawmanning.
description of your argument. We went over it.
Blitz, what you have to understand is that the logos is the mind of God. It's the mind.
Well, yeah,
it's
that's a
the
premise,
reason,
right?
understanding.
That's
and
a
you
premise.
Need hold up. You need a mind that transcends physics. You even admitted that you know.
Oh, so
truth
I don't even think
transcends
premise. I don't think
systems.
premise. So to be clear, I don't think premise 1 is coherent. I don't think premise 2 is true. I don't think premise
Blitz,
3 is true
you
either.
just admitted to premise 1.
No, I said that there exists truths in my mind. But I don't even think that a formal physical
hold up.
system is a sensible statement.
Blitz,
I don't even think that it's a
Blitz.
coherent phrase.
Blitz, what physical system proves P parentheses S equal 1?
Physical systems don't prove anything.
Well, you know truth that the system is just as Gödel said. This was exactly what Gödel
just as
even
Gödel said.
Says it. Hold it. Hold it. Stop the press.
Stop.
Stop
Look,
the
you're making
press.
it so a formal.
Stop the
So let's.
press.
Why don't we
Blitz,
break
you
this down a
all
little
over
bit?
the-
Why don't we
Blitz.
break this down a little bit? A formal system is an abstract mathematical way of describing something, and a physical system
Blitz.
is a physical thing. So a formal
Li-
physical
listen.
system is an abstract mathematical thing that is also
Yes,
physical,
no.
which is incoherent.
All systems described by even Stephen. Go. I implore
Even
your
Stephen,
audience
even all systems.
I
You're crashing
implore
out,
your
bud.
audience to go read Stephen Hawking's wonderful lecture.
Yeah, do
Gödel
it.
and the
It was
Physics.
misguided, unfortunately. Like
Or
it wasn't.
go read.
I think it's mistaken.
Everybody's misguided, but Blitz.
Well, yeah,
Everybody's
I'm allowed to have.
misguided, but
I'm allowed to have
Blitz.
opinions about things. Yeah, definitely.
That won't even tell us what paper he's published. Everybody's misguided. Blitz, you said
Being
listen,
incredulous isn't an argument, by the way.
but
Yeah.
Blitz,
So
let's
suppose
go over
suppose
what-
I accept
hold on.
suppose
Can
I
I say
accept
something,
P1. How
Blitz?
does no? Suppose I
Can I-
accept
can I-
no
can I
no
say
you no
something?
you may not. Suppose I accept P1. How does P2
Blitz,
follow?
Stop running, man.
Why should I think that P2 follows?
Blitz, I gotta ask
Why do
you
I
a
think that
question.
P2 is true?
Why is it that everybody that comes up here, you let them talk and say stuff, but you interrupt me every 2 seconds?
Well, because you tend to ramble a bit.
Before I come up here, you let people talk.
You tend to ramble a bit.
Is it because you can't handle the truth?
Oh, I mean, we literally
can
laid
I
out
get
your
a-
argument
can I
here, and
get
we
10
showed how it's
seconds?
not how it originally
can I-
wasn't
can I
valid,
get
and
tw-
now that it's written out in
Hey,
a valid
hey,
way,
Blitz,
it's incoherent.
Can,
So
can I get 20?
Angel,
can I get
Angel,
20 seconds?
you may not. Unless your 20 seconds is going to explain why P2 is
can I
true.
get 20 seconds?
Please justify P2. You can have 20 seconds to
Blitz.
do that. You can have
Okay.
20 seconds to justify P2. Go ahead.
Realize what we learned here, folks. Blitz doesn't know what's really real. He doesn't know. He rejects materialism.
All right. I gave him 20 seconds to defend P2. He chose not to do it, so he lost his chance. Such is the nature of things, though. Anyway, I should read super chats, and then I'll bring up another guest. So from Neck2 with the $5, thank you. Science Angel likes is absolute, but science he doesn't like is speculative. That's a good point. From Garba Gaiman with the 10 Canuck bucks, thank you so much, as always, Garba Gaiman. Congrats on the paper. Published under the name Roger Penrose. Angel will accept it without even reading the abstract. That's true. That's a good point. Unfortunately, I'm not going to steal. I'm not going to do Stolen Valor for Roger Penrose. It looks like we have a guest named Leo. Leo on the YouTube chat. How's it going?
Hello.
welcome. Do you believe in God?
No, I'm sorry, but I love your videos, mate. Have a
I
great
appreciate
day,
that.
all right?
All right, take care,
truly
Leo.
sorry for being in this for so long. My bad.
You're fine.
Have a great day.
All right, let's hydrate some. All right, let's bring up Ali again. Ali again, how's it going? Ali, you there? All right. Josh, can you hear me?
Yes, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. Do you believe in God?
I do. I also believe in science, so
Okay,
bear with
cool.
me.
Yeah, so just so I can get a feel for what you believe, can you tell me what God it is you believe in?
I do believe in the Judeo-Christian God. I am a Roman Catholic.
So you're a Christian.
Yes.
This is sorry, it's just a pet peeve of mine, but like you don't believe in the Judeo-Christian God. No such thing exists. You believe in the Christian God, which it has
That's
three
fair.
parts. It's triune, right? The Jewish God doesn't have that. The Jewish God is very distinct from the Christian God. Anyway, but okay, you're Roman Catholic, great. So what would you say is like the most compelling reason you could give me that would make me think that like Catholicism is correct?
I would say, bear with me. I'm not a scientist. You go above and beyond in terms of my understanding of science. I'm more of a philosopher. So, if you will humor me, I would say brain and vat theory, if you've ever heard of it.
I'm familiar with it. What about it?
I guess we would start from taking a position of radical doubt and expand from there based off of one cannot deny their own existence.
Sure, I agree that I can't deny my own existence.
Okay. Let's see here. Trying to see, I have notes. Bear with me. Even if
That's the pop
even if you
Go
can
ahead.
deny your own, pardon, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it.
Let's see. Suppose you're a brain floating in a vat of fluids connected to electrodes,
Yep.
and your perception is completely failing you. Everything that you sense, such as taste, touch, hearing, smelling, everything that you are perceiving
Yeah, it's
could
fake.
or could not be accurate. You've heard that.
Sure.
before.
Yeah, sure. Where do we go from
Okay.
here?
There is at least one thing that exists.
Sure.
So it's possible for you to be deceived in your perception.
Sure.
However, even if nothing you think exists actually exists, you still must exist.
Sure.
Okay. We agree upon that.
Sure.
So we know at least with certainty that there is at least one entity, yourself. There is at least one thing of which the term existence can be predicated.
Sure. Hold on. I don't think that existence is a predicate.
Why wouldn't you?
It's a quantification operator. It's not a predicate.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. So, based off of that principle, though, if there were no such thing as existence, nothing would exist, not even you. But as we have seen already, that's an impossibility.
I would say that surely something exists. I agree.
Okay. So, there must be an act of being in which all entities participate.
I don't know what that means. Can you elaborate?
Basically, we exist due to the I'm trying to think of how I could explain this. How would I explain this? So, bear with me.
You're fine.
Let's see. There must be an act of being, an act of perfect existence.
What do you mean an act of being? I don't think of being as an action. I think of it's just like a state of affairs.
Well, in terms of the philosophical language, let's say an actuality. There must be an actuality, then, in which all entities participate.
I don't know what you mean by an actuality. Like, I actually exist.
Yes.
What is an actuality without the thing that we're talking about actually existing? What does that mean?
So there has to be something that exists without potentiality.
Why should I think that potentiality exists at all? Why should I think that actuality is like is like a useful notion?
So based off of this principle, we know that potentiality exists.
Why should I think that?
You're a physicalist. You observe the physical realm. You obviously see that things change.
Yeah.
If I were to hold up an acorn and tell you that this acorn is actually an oak tree, you would tell me no, but it has the potential to be one.
I wouldn't say it has the potential to be one. I would say it either will be an oak tree or it won't be. And I don't have sufficient knowledge to know which one.
Right, but that still in and of itself shows that there is potentiality to be one of the
Can you
other.
define what potentiality means then?
Okay. Let me look it up and if you have the definition, go for it, but
I can Google it, but yeah, I'll just Google it for you if you want.
Latent qualities or abilities that may be developed and lead to future success or usefulness, or the possibility of something happening or someone doing something in the future.
So which of these would you use?
Let's see. I would say the second definition, the possibility of something happening.
So you're just saying potentiality and possibility are the same thing essentially?
In a sense, yes. I would say that let me see how I would word this. I would say it would be a structured possibility.
A structured possibility?
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Just so I can be clear.
Okay. So let's look at the acorn once again. We know that it is an acorn based off of the fact that it is an acorn. It has an actuality to it. We recognize this actuality because of what it is.
I don't know what the language of actuality is doing there. I know it's an acorn because I know the properties of acorns, and those properties match the thing that I'm seeing.
Exactly. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm using archaic terminology, so bear with me. So we recognize an acorn for what it is.
An acorn is an acorn, yeah. That's the law of identity.
Right. So if we base this off of the law of identity, which you've mentioned, we also recognize that the structured potentialities that are present.
Structured potentialities. Again, so when you say potentiality, you just mean like possible ways that it could be at some point in the future?
Right, but based off of how this thing exists presently. So we know
so given the way that it is now, your take is that there are certain ways that it could be in the future.
Right.
Okay. So that seems very that view seems very predicated on like a presentist view of time, which I don't accept.
So if you planted a seed in your garden and you knew it was a tomato seed and you planted it and it rained, based off of your foreknowledge of what this seed is and what it does, would you expect it to become a tomato?
Given the information I have, yeah, I probably would.
And this is the basis based off of what we're talking about.
But what does any of this have to do with potentiality? Potentiality seems to rely on like a presentist view of time, that there's like some genuine distinction between what is and what will be. But I don't take a presentist view of time. I take an eternalist view of time, in which case there is no distinction. We're just currently experiencing one, and we might experience another depending on whether we'll continue to be alive or not.
That's fair. Let's see. Trying to see how to explain this. And I'll be honest, you may have to dumb down what you're trying to explain to me because I'm not as educated as you are.
Okay, which part?
Based on, so I'm using the word potentiality. And when I say potentiality, what are you trying to
What I'm saying is that the notion of potentiality and actuality is like what it comes from, like Aristotle, I want to say.
Yes.
And it's been out of date for like over 100 years.
Okay, how would it be out of date?
So since Einstein came along and introduced relativity, we know that what now is relative. It's called relativity of simultaneity. And
Okay.
this leads to the philosophical conclusion that the present is not special. The present is not the thing that exists, because there is no such thing as the present. Rather, the implication is that we should treat all of space-time as kind of coexisting equally in an equally real way, meaning the future is just as real as the past, is just as real as the present. They all exist in the same way. And if you take that position, then there's no such thing as potentiality, because the future of the acorn exists just as much as the present acorn does.
Okay. Okay. But the possibilities thereof. So I'm trying to flesh this out of my brain. The possibilities thereof of how the acorn exists differentiate.
Well, I mean, depending on your view, I'm a determinist, so I take the view that there's only one outcome for the acorn, and it's whatever it will be at some point in the future.
Right. I would agree in that sense, but we could also, how would you say? We could hypothesize, so to speak. We could look
But that's
at something.
just based on incomplete information, right?
That's
like you can hypothesize about things that like aren't actually possible, right?
That's fair. I'm trying to think. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. I will say you've overloaded me with information.
Sorry to do that. I didn't mean to.
No, you're
it's
good.
it's just like I've heard the argument from like it's like Thomistic stuff. I've heard the argument, and it just falls apart when you realize that philosophy hasn't been relevant for over 100 years because of relativity.
That's fair enough. Okay. You've given me something to think about, and I appreciate it.
All right, Josh. Well, anything else, or should I move on to the next guest?
You're welcome to move on to the next guest. I appreciate the time you've given me. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks for being here, bud.
Mm-hmm.
That was super wholesome, super thoughtful. All right, let's bring up another guest. I don't know who to bring up. Oh, let's bring up Pudding. I think Pudding was talking a lot.
Hey.
Pudding, how's it going?
How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Do you believe in God?
Yes. For the sake of this argument, I'll say yes.
I'm not doing devil's advocacy, my guy.
No. I know. I'm sort of my position is sort of I guess you could call it a Petersonite if you want to go down that line.
I don't. Sorry. The Wizard Atreyu, how's it going?
Going well, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Okay, which one?
The Christian God.
Okay, and what would you say is like the most compelling argument or reason you could give me that I should accept that view?
The idea that okay, so I guess my first question is do you believe that you can have absolute knowledge of something?
No.
Like 1%, 100% knowledge. Okay. So
well, maybe about my own existence. But that
okay.
if I can have absolute knowledge about that, that might be the only thing.
Okay. So then with other things though, then would that not fall into the problem of infinite regress?
Can you elaborate? I don't see how those two things are related.
Yeah, so like the idea that if you can't have absolute knowledge of something, and God is the thing of absolute knowledge, then how can you actually know anything if you don't believe in God? Does that make any sense?
Okay, you're saying so wait, so then let's think about this. How does God know things with 100% certainty?
Yeah, so I mean, well, the idea is that he is the pinnacle of all knowledge, so he knows, he is all knowing.
So I mean, so you're just saying he just does?
Because
So why
it's
couldn't
not
I just say, oh yeah, I just do know that, you know, the universe exists?
just saying that you know that the universe exists.
Yeah, why
means
couldn't
that
I
it
just say
does.
that I just do?
I mean, we know that you exist.
Uh-huh.
And so I believe that God exists because I believe that God is absolute knowledge. And so therefore my connection to that absolute knowledge provides me with the ability to know things 100%.
Well, no, so look, I asked, how does God know anything with 100% certainty?
Yeah.
And you said, oh, well, that's just what God does. God just knows. That's like one of the things that he does. So why can't I just say, oh, well, one of the things that I do is I know that the external world exists and that my senses are fairly good representations of them. Why couldn't I just know that? If I don't have to, if you don't have to justify why God knows it, why do I have to justify why I know it?
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you for taking me for time. I'm actually not a Christian. I'm an
That's a good way to
atheist.
get blocked, my guy. From Super Pizza with the $5, which interpretation of quantum mechanics, like Copenhagen or many worlds, do you believe and why? I take the I take the many worlds interpretation seriously. Tree, how's it going?
Hello?
Hi, Tree, how's it going?
Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay, so you don't believe in no God or anything, right?
So Tree, do you believe in God?
Yeah. I believe that Jesus is the Son of God.
Okay.
Do you understand this philosophy?
I know what you believe. I know that you believe Jesus is the Son of God because you just told me it.
Yeah. So basically, God is outside of space and time, right? Do you agree?
In your view, yeah, yeah, sure.
Because he existed before time.
Wait, hold on. Tree, how old are you?
Before the existence of the universe.
Tree, how old are you?
I'm 13.
Bro sounded like he was 19. But yeah, you have to be 18 plus. Sorry about that. Frosty, how's it going?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and which one? Just so I can know what you believe.
The Christian God. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was on an atheist panel earlier, but I was just chatting with them, and they kind of figured out that my belief is more like a pantheism than a monotheism. So a lot of Christians don't understand the Trinity fully. So you
Frosty,
need like a priest to like tell you stuff like
Frosty,
about
do you believe that a
the
mind created the
Trinity.
universe?
I I wouldn't say mind so much as light, actual light.
Well, but then
Like
you and I, then you don't believe in God in the sense that I'm familiar with. So, I mean, like you can have your belief, but like I'm interested in talking with people who believe that there is a mind responsible for creating the
Yeah.
universe.
No.
Also, the noise is pretty annoying in the back. Let's talk to Emma Akbar. Emma Akbar? Akbar. Ooh. Is this person coming up? Hey, by the way, if you guys are watching, make sure to join the Discord. There's a link both in the description of the YouTube video if you're watching there, and there's a link in the bio, in my link tree in my bio. Now, the thing about the link tree in the bio link, you have to copy and paste it into a browser, otherwise it won't work. You can't just click on it. For some reason, it doesn't work from the link. Ben, you say you're a Christian physicist.
What's good?
How's it going?
What's up?
Not a whole lot. You said you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're Christian.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Okay. And you're a physicist.
No.
So you just lied?
I'm gonna be one.
Oh, but so then
I
you
graduated high
lied.
school.
How old are you?
I mean, define physicist, right?
Somebody who does physics as an occupation.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
But you're not that.
But like, you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, it just sounded like you lied. How old are you?
18.
Okay. So what would you say is the most compelling reason you could give me to convince me that Christianity is true?
Jesus Christ.
What about him?
His existence, like the history behind it.
Like just like the guy. I mean, like I agree that he existed. I don't think that he rose from the dead though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, anyone can agree that, right? But just like, you know how. Think about it.
I'm thinking
Like,
about it. What part about him existing means that God is real?
Because like his whole thing was how like he lived like this virtuous life, right?
Yeah.
And he did a lot of good things for a lot of people. Like it's documented. Like it's not just
Well, it's documented in the
person wrote
Bible,
the
which is,
story.
you know, a little bit suspect, but sure, go ahead.
Sorry, what'd you say?
It's documented in the Bible. It's not really documented anywhere else.
But there's multiple documents in the Bible about him.
Well, yeah, sure. That's the whole Bible's about him, but or
yeah.
at least the Christian Bible's about him. But like, look, my question is like, okay, suppose that he was like this really chill dude who like really helped the poor and stuff. On what grounds do I have to believe that he rose from the dead?
Right. Okay. Not that. Okay, so he rose from the dead, but like, I'm saying that he was like this really chill guy or whatever, how you're putting it. And all these
Yeah,
people
sure. Suppose he
followed
was.
him. And they stated that he like performed miracles. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure some of them even believed it.
What happened was the Romans said like, okay, you can't be doing that. That's blasphemy. We're gonna crucify you.
Mm-hmm.
And all these people, right, were like they saw these miracles, right, and they would like talk about it. And so now he's getting crucified for it, and instead of denying it, he still like goes along with it, and he's been this good guy his whole life. Like he does not deserve this, is what I'm saying, and he still chooses to die on the cross. And all of his disciples, right?
How do you know he had a choice? How do you know he had a choice?
Because it was documented in the Bible, like as in like him, like because the Jewish, like they okay, so he was brought to the Romans by the Jewish temple, right? And
Okay,
so he was
sure.
given like the opportunity to deny that he is that he like performed the miracles, right?
He was
And
given the
had,
opportunity? Where does it say that?
That's just how I remember it.
I don't think that he was given the opportunity to deny his ministry.
No, as in like I don't know. But like what I'm saying is that like he did all these good things. He lived a virtuous life, and
Suppose he
and
did. How does
still
that mean
died
God's
for it.
real? How does that mean God's real?
Okay, listen. It's been 2,000 years since this happened, and now there's 3 billion people on the planet who are convinced of this. And now you can like confidently tell me that you're 100% sure that Jesus didn't die on the cross and resurrect.
Well, no, I think he probably did die on the cross.
And resurrect.
But yeah, like I just don't have any good reason to believe that. I'm not going to say like 100% certainty, but like that's a pretty big claim. It would require pretty big evidence.
I know, but you probably think there's like a 0.00001% chance, I'm assuming, that Jesus died and resurrected.
Yeah, sure. Suppose that that's the number.
Now, what I'm telling you is that realistically, there's an even greater chance because of history, like as in like people, yeah. So like So someone says in the comments, 28.8% of the world's population claim to be Christian.
Yeah, so like most people are not Christian.
Okay.
So why should I be
but-
Christian if most people aren't?
Yes, because it's like, think of a pie chart, right? The biggest slice of pie is Christianity.
Okay. Still
Right,
still a
that-
minority.
No, it's the majority.
No, it's a minority. It's a
Am I wrong?
plurality.
But I'm saying it's okay. I don't really know. I'm just saying that.
Anyway,
like,
but like, you're doing an appeal to popularity, right?
okay, but what's
Like just
wrong
be
with that?
like let's say 2,500 years ago, everybody thought the Earth was flat. That doesn't mean that the Earth is flat.
Okay, well, okay, but but there was probably a good chance at the time that the Earth was flat.
Was it actually flat? Yes or no?
It wasn't, but if
So there was a good chance of it. How is there a good
thinker-
chance?
What do you mean? How is there a good chance? Nothing is like absolute truth. I'm saying if you were a critical thinker back in that time, when when everyone thought the Earth was flat,
Yeah.
and you couldn't, let's say at the time you couldn't prove that it was round, right?
Yeah.
Would you be like stupid to say that the Earth was probably flat?
No, you might even be rational to believe it, but it doesn't make it true.
Okay. Now, with Christianity, I'd say there's a substantial amount of evidence that Jesus was a person who lived a virtuous life and died on the cross after doing a lot of good things and spreading an incredible message to people. I'd say that there's a very, very good chance that that's true.
Suppose that's true. I'm willing to grant that he was like a chill dude who helped people and cared about the poor. Sure.
Right, right. Enough so to where people, right, some of his disciples, they created a story, like not a fiction. I'm not saying fictional story, but I'm saying they created documentation about his life and about his journey, and they believed in it so much that a lot of them were also crucified or killed for it. And so, and these are truths.
Well,
we're not 100% truth, but they're very, very likely, in my opinion.
It's not so clear how many of the disciples were actually executed. I think that we have external sources of like one or of like two of them or so.
Okay,
but,
yeah, you have external sources.
Yeah, and then the
But
rest
I'm
is like
saying, like-
church tradition.
But I'm saying, like, do you think Alexander the Great was a person?
Sure.
Right. There's not.
Being
like,
a person is not
insane amount of
supernatural.
documentation on
There's
Alexander.
there's so much documentation of Alexander the Great. So much.
From how long ago?
Like the time when he was alive. There are
Yeah.
like statues built to him. We have
Okay,
like his
what
face
was it,
was on
like-
people. His face was on coins. There's
That's like
like
2,500 years ago, right?
yeah, or something like that. Yeah, there's so much documentation about Alexander the Great.
Yeah, we also
wildly
have physical
large amounts.
documentation of like there's pieces like the cloth that Jesus was wrapped in and stuff like that. Like what I'm saying is,
Oh, we don't have that.
Well, what about the Shroud of Turin?
Oh, it was a forgery. It was made in the 1300s.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah, no,
There's
it was made in the 1300s. It's a forgery.
Okay, well, but like there's nothing else. Like there's no other physical. Like
For
I thought there
Jesus?
was.
No, we don't have
Yeah.
any. We don't have any physical evidence that Jesus existed.
I'll have to look into that.
But Jesus probably existed because
even if
other people were writing about
yeah.
him at the time. In the same way that Alexander the Great existed because other people were writing about him and his escapades. But yeah, I mean, like,
I know, but like it's
So-
possible.
so, look-
it's possible that Alexander the Great wasn't a real person, but I think it's extremely likely
it's
that he
possible
was.
in the same way that it's possible that like my
Yeah,
mother lied to me
well-
about being my actual mother, right?
No, because
Well, no. I mean, that's possible.
we're talking about
It's just
thousands of years ago, right?
look.
It's kind of
Look,
hard to
let
say
me shortcut
everything's
this.
true.
I
Okay.
generally, my view is that if you're presenting pretty mundane evidence that there was a guy who walked around in Judea and he was a chill dude, these are all pretty normal things, and even that he was executed, the Romans did a lot of that. This is all pretty mundane. I don't need a lot of convincing to be convinced that like this kind of thing happened. If you then go on to say that he rose from the dead, that's no longer mundane, and you're going to have to
No,
provide
of
really
course.
solid evidence that that happened.
Of course.
So what's the evidence?
I'm saying that his message is like more.
What's the evidence that he
believable
rose from the dead? That's all I care about.
There's no.
That's the important part.
The evidence that I'm sorry. The evidence that he rose from the dead, like there, is just the accounts in the Bible. But I'm saying.
And why should I believe those accounts?
Why you don't have to? Why
Okay.
I believe. Why I'm talking to you. All right. So it's why I believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead is because of the virtuous life he lived, documented in the Bible, and all the people who believed him at the time too, and how it's been 2,000 years, and now 28.8% of the population also believes that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. Now, one question that I have for you.
Look, you're just making an appeal to popularity again.
Okay.
You're just saying
Said
lots of
that.
people believe it. It must be true. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
No,
I don't care if
no,
lots of
I did
people
not
believe
say
it.
it must be true. See now you're.
Well, okay.
You're
Lots of people
putting words
believe
in
it,
my mouth.
therefore you believe it.
Okay. My question for you is, what is your problem with the Christian God, as in like you obviously chose to be atheist for some reason, like
I've been atheist
what's-
as long as I can remember.
okay, yeah, so but I'm sure you've looked into the I don't know,
Yep.
you've looked into religion
I've looked
at
into other
some
stuff,
point in your
yeah.
life, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you obviously reject the Christian God for some reason.
Because it doesn't seem true. The claims of the Bible don't seem plausible. The qualities as described in the Bible of the Christian God seem mutually contradictory. Yeah, I mean, like, that's it.
So you have no like philosophical reasons, like
Well, that I
against Christianity?
I gave you broadly the answer, namely that the traits described in the Bible of this Christian God are often mutually contradictory or incoherent.
How so?
For example, it seems impossible for a being that exists outside of space and time to have thoughts and feelings, and yet God is often described as having thoughts and feelings. It seems impossible
So
for
someone who creates the universe.
yeah, it doesn't seem
They
like they can
can't
take. It
do
doesn't seem like they
anything?
can have. It doesn't seem like they can have actions if they exist outside of time.
Well, let's say you created a universe.
I don't think you can create a universe if you're timeless. I don't think that's a thing that's possible. It seems incoherent to say that somebody took an action when there was no time to take that action.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where in the Bible does it say that God exists outside of space and time?
If he doesn't exist outside of space and time, that means that he didn't create space and time, which means he didn't create everything.
But what's the difference? Like, what if God has a different space and time than us?
Then he didn't create his own. So then there's something that exists that he didn't create.
But like we're talking about like a being that's outside of our reality. How can you use like our physics?
I'm not
and,
using
like,
physics.
our-
I'm just using what you might call laws of logic.
Yeah, laws of logic.
So would you say that the laws of logic don't apply to the God that you believe in?
I would say that
You don't
it's
want to say that.
possible
That's a
they
mistake.
don't. Huh?
You don't want to say that. That's a mistake.
How come?
Because
we're-
if it's true that God can make if it's true that God can embody contradictions, for example, then you could just say then you are now required to answer the question, can God create a rock so heavy he can't lift it?
Repeat that one more time.
Can God create a rock
No, what
so
you said before
heavy?
that, the whole thing. The whole
Yeah,
thing.
if God is able to embody contradictions, if God is able to exist with contradictions in a contradictory way, then you are now responsible for answering the question I just asked.
Wait, how did I say that God can exist?
You said
in a
that logic.
contradictory way?
You said that logic may not apply to God. One of the laws of logic is the law of non-contradiction.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Well, not it. No. Logic can apply to God.
Okay, so then
I think it's logical that like a being that is able to create a universe, right? Theoretically, might be like he's outside of our existence. So why can't he like come from a different?
If he has
logic?
his own time, then he didn't create his own time. Then he didn't create time, right?
Well, like when you start up your Minecraft world, right? You get the big like loading thing that like
Sure,
gets
I'm
bigger
still
and
not a
bigger
god.
and it starts.
Just because I created my own mind, even if I programmed Minecraft, that doesn't make me God.
But
That makes me a programmer.
I'm not being literal when I say this. I'm like.
So do you believe that God created everything, or just our universe?
I think that God. I don't know, but I think.
Well, you're kind of stuck. You're kind of stuck either way. If God created everything, then you run into the problem of God being able to do something without time existing, because time is part of everything. On the other hand, if God didn't create everything, then the question is what created all this stuff that he didn't create?
Listen, what I think is that God is outside of the everything that we exist in.
I'm not talking about the everything that we exist in. I'm talking about everything, the whole thing.
Oh, then no, I don't think.
You don't think God created everything besides himself?
I don't. Like I wouldn't be able to comprehend it. So like I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, regardless of what the answer is, you're stuck. Either God did create everything besides himself, in which case he created time, in which case he couldn't have created anything because you can't do anything if there's no time around. On the other hand, if God didn't create everything, then that just means that there's something that you can't explain the creation of it. And so now you and I are in equal shoes. And I don't have to invoke God.
Why does it have to like be that me and you have to understand like the like so like complicated like creation of our existence and like how God came to be or anything like that when if he's like a being that can create our universe? Like why do we have to like why do you mean you have to say like, oh, I should have to know first how he did it?
So look, if you're going to make the claim, if you're going to make the claim that like God is a good explanation for this thing, then you better be able to explain what that means. If you can't explain it, then it's just not a good explanation.
Like, okay, I see what you're saying, and you come from somewhere where it's always like everything needs to be for sure. But
no, look, it doesn't. It doesn't need like I'm not demanding that you know everything. What I'm saying is, if you're offering an explanation, you better be able to explain what your explanation is doing, like what your explanation is. If you can't explain it, then it's just not an explanation.
Okay, then I can't explain it.
So then, God's just not a good explanation for like where the universe came from.
So you're telling me that there's no problems with the with your theory of how the universe came to be?
I'm agnostic about it.
Okay.
I think that there's a few different ways that it could have been, and I can't. I don't have the evidence to figure out which one it is.
And you don't think that it could be that it's something so like complicated that where we're at right now, at least, we won't be able to explain it.
It could be, but that doesn't mean it's a god.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's a god, right?
And as
could
far
be
as
some
far as the God
complicated-
explanation is concerned, it doesn't provide an explanation. So it just seems like why is that even in the running?
Because of Jesus Christ.
But we don't have reason to think that any of the things that like any of the miracles actually happened though. Like we don't really have a good reason for that.
We do have.
At least you don't have compelling reasons. Maybe you have some reasons.
We do have the Gospels, which tell us
and Muslims
about,
have the Quran, and
Yes.
Hindus have a whole swath of literature that's far older than the Gospels.
I'm not saying like how the Gospels like are like somehow magically better than everyone else's. I'm saying that if you like look into that message and you look into the life of Jesus Christ, that it can like make sense that he would come down and like try and like deliver us his message.
Well,
and like
look, that's the claim that he that he came down, right? You need to demonstrate if you want to appeal to the historicity of the miracles or whatever of Jesus. If you want to appeal to that as to prove his divinity or to provide evidence for his divinity and therefore provide evidence for the Christian God, you have to provide evidence of that. It's not just enough to say that, well, it says it in the book.
I know.
You gotta give me something more.
It's not evidence. I'm telling you, like, his message and how he lived his life.
I understand that was his message. Why should I believe that his message was true?
Because I mean, do you have like sympathy for other human beings?
Yeah, that didn't start with Jesus.
Yeah. Like these people at this time, they witnessed Jesus's teachings, right? And they wrote about it. And
well,
I can
we don't know if they wrote about it, for what it's worth.
Okay, someone wrote it.
Someone wrote about it, and it
I
seems
can
plausible that
sympathize.
given the time span between when it was written and when it's supposed to have happened, that it was a few generations later that people heard stories about stories about stories.
I think that it was written by the disciples.
Oh, well, but there's no evidence for that, right?
Okay. But I sympathize for those people. I sympathize for other people because I am a person myself.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't mean
so-
that you have to believe everything that other people say.
I don't believe a lot of things that
Why
the
don't
Quran
you sympathize with the Mormons and believe, like, there were all these people who heard Joseph Smith's message, and there's all like there was the golden plates that they all like believed in, and they had these experiences, and there were like witnesses and stuff. Why don't you sympathize with them and become a Mormon?
because I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked into Mormonism, and
You should. It's really well documented.
yeah, and the thing is 28.8% of the population, I know I'm doing this again, but they are Christian.
So you know that
So
Mormonism
that's
is spreading
why I've
faster
looked
than
into it.
Christianity did in its early years.
Yeah, but I'm talking about it's like been 2,000 years since, and now all these people have gotten this message and they've taken it to heart.
Yeah.
And like, I know like the Quran says that basically what happened is that you know how a big part of their debate is that like the we don't even have the real Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and like how it's been changed, and
Yeah.
so like the whole thing was what was it? The angel Gabriel came to Muhammad and told him,
Yeah.
basically they messed it up and they changed it. We're gonna give you the real truth and you're gonna write it down. So now they have the actual Quran or whatever in their. But the thing is, I believe in Jesus' message.
Why not? Why don't you believe in Muhammad's
believe-
message?
Huh?
Why not you believe in Muhammad's message?
Because it's kind of weird how they like made it that. Okay, yeah. Why I don't believe in Muhammad's message is because Muhammad's message is that Jesus is the Messiah, that he is that he had what was it, immaculate conception, and that he was a good prophet, but then he wasn't crucified, that he was taken
Whisked away.
by Allah. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was taken away by Allah, and it was made to be like that. Like that, Allah played a trick on the Romans and the Jewish church by making them think that they crucified Jesus, when in reality he took him up to heaven. Now he's going to come back down during the whole to defeat the Antichrist, or not the Antichrist, the like whatever it was.
So land the plane.
like,
Why
what
don't
I
you
don't-
believe? Why don't you believe Muhammad's message?
Why I don't believe that message is because it's been documented by people that Jesus believed he was divine, or like he did a lot of things that made it so his disciples believed he was divine, and other people believed he was divine, and the Jewish church had him killed because they believed.
By the way,
he
it's not
was
called a
spreading the
church.
message that he was. I know. I'm just using the terminology that's coming to my mind. I know temple. Is that better?
You would say like
What would you
the Pharisees, perhaps.
Yes, the Pharisees.
There you go.
So that's why I don't agree with the Quran.
Because you believe
But-
the Christian texts.
Because I believe.
But why not?
No,
But if
no,
you believe,
because
if
I
you believe
the
the,
people-
if you believe the Muslim texts, then you shouldn't believe the Christian texts.
Okay, so why? No, okay. So what you're telling me? Here's the thing. The Quran goes against history.
So does the Christian Bible.
I'm talking about the gospel. I'm talking about Jesus's.
Well, no, the claim is that the
crucifixion.
Gospels are incorrect historically. That's what the claim of the Muslim text is.
And it's also claiming that history is incorrect about Jesus'
Well, no.
crucifixion.
The place where you get the history from is the Christian texts.
No, there. I swear there's other documentation of Jesus' crucifixion.
Not that I know of.
So historians believe that Jesus was crucified just based on the Christian text?
Let's see. Okay, so let's see. So this source is claiming that we have Tacitus, from which is a reference to which makes a reference to Jesus. So Nero fastened the guilt on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace. Christus, for whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate. And the most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome. So if the claim is that he was going to be crucified, but then was brought up to heaven, then this is exactly what you'd expect to appear in the text, right?
I thought it said that.
It said he suffered the most extreme penalty, which is probably crucifixion, right?
Yeah.
But my understanding of the Quran, and I could be mistaken, is that their claim is that he was whisked up to heaven.
Yeah.
Instead of being crucified, like he was like crucified. He was like up on the cross and then straight to heaven.
No. It was. Okay, I could be wrong.
Let's
but what
find
I
out.
got from it. Yeah. Sure.
Some interpretations suggest that someone else was made to appear as Jesus on the cross, while Jesus was saved by God, according to a Quora page, apparently.
That's what I got.
So if they
from
think
my
that, then
research.
that's exactly what you would expect Tacitus to write, that somebody who matched the description of Jesus died on the cross. Anyway, but like, look, the point is that avoided giving me evidence for any of these historical claims, any of these like miraculous historical claims. So I think I just have to move on, especially because I want to go eat lunch.
Okay, real quick though.
Sure.
Real quick, like my whole like thing is to like bring up your like percentage chance that you think that that Christianity is true. Like,
well, you didn't succeed because you just kept appealing to popularity.
Listen, or sorry, like, what is your like philosophical, like, what do you have against Christianity, like, personally?
It's not a personal issue. It just seems incorrect. This isn't some personal thing.
All right. Wait, are you a doctor?
I have a PhD in physics. Yeah. That's why I brought you up.
What kind of physics? What kind of physics?
Because you said that you're a physicist, even though you lied.
I'm gonna.
You know, lying's a sin, by the way.
Yeah. Well, like in my heart, I'm a physicist. I've done physics.
Okay. Well, in my heart, I'm the king of England. Okay. Thanks for being here, Ben. And if you want to know, Ben, I do relativity. I'm a mathematical physicist. So, y'all, I'm going to end the live. I'm 20 minutes over when I would usually end, but I wanted to finish the conversation with him. So I'm going to go make myself some lunch, make some coffee. Sorry to everybody who's been waiting. I know there's been a lot of you. But if you want to follow up, if you want to come back later, if you want to watch again, you should join my Discord. There's a link in the description on YouTube. There's a link in the link tree in my bio. You have to copy and paste the link and paste it into a browser. Because I send out announcements for all of the videos I make and for all of the live streams that I do in the Discord every day. So go enjoy that. Go join, and I'll see you guys tomorrow around the same time for more debates. Take care, everybody.